Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. Creation Upgrade. When a daughter is born, an experience bar will appear on her head. Chapter 21. Woof woof woof. Someone is coming. Lu Dao, who was practicing, suddenly frowned when he heard the sound of the big black dog. He thought it was someone else in the town looking for him. When he went out, he found a woman in colorful clothes riding a horse. I don't know why, but when he saw this woman, Lu Dao felt that the person coming was evil. Little brother, are you Lu Dao? The woman in colorful clothes came to the front of the courtyard. The moment she turned over and dismounted from her horse, intentionally or unintentionally, a trace of white skin was vaguely exposed on her waist. In the dusk, it was extremely eye-catching and immediately attracted Lu Dao's attention. Lu Dao smiled and said, "My brother is not small, but my sister is quite big." "Oh, I didn't expect you to be a little pervert." The woman in colorful clothes looked at Lu Dao with great interest and said, "Little brother, do you like sister? As long as you give your things to sister, sister can fulfill any of your wishes." When it comes to any wish, the woman in colorful clothes is full of charm in her words, even showing a hint of shyness. It seemed that as long as the things were given to her, she could satisfy Lu Dao's wishes, even the indescribable things suppressed by the river crab emperor. "Okay, what does sister want?" Lu Dao's face was full of smiles. He admired the charming look of the woman in colorful clothes with a smile, and he readily agreed. The woman in colorful clothes was a little surprised, as if she didn't expect it to be so simple, and said softly, "A spiritual grass, a dust-removing grass." When Lu Dao heard this, he immediately showed a look of regret and said, "Sister, it's such a pity that Kuchensao was destroyed by Zhongshang from the Axe Gang. That fool would rather destroy the spirit grass than leave it to me. It's really hateful." Quote. After saying that, Lu Dao looked angry. When the woman in colorful clothes heard this, her charming expression froze, her face gradually darkened, and she said, "Little brother, don't you plan to give the dust-removing grass to your sister?" Lu Dao spread his hands and said innocently, "How dare you lie to sister? If sister doesn't believe it, you can go to the mountain road behind Axe Gang and have a look. It's only been a day. If sister searches carefully, you should be able to find some traces of grass juice." So, because you eradicated the Axe Gang, the dust-removing grass was destroyed. The woman in colorful clothes changed her face faster than Lu Dao understood the technique. Her face turned completely cold in an instant, and she was a little unreasonable. Lu Dao shrugged and said speechlessly, "Even if I don't eradicate the Axe Gang, can you get the dust-removing grass?" The woman in colorful clothes was stunned. Of course she knew that if Lu Dao didn't attack the Axe Gang, Shen Guangxi would never be able to write to her and would only seek spiritual herbs for himself. However, she was unwilling to do so. She came to Daifeng town with a lot of travel and found nothing. However, since you can't get the dust-removing grass, getting Lu Dao is a worthwhile trip. Immediately, the look of the woman in colorful clothes changed again, and she said with a smile, "How about the little brother and sister go?" Lu Dao was stunned. He did not expect such a change. This woman no longer asked about the matter of Chen Sao, but asked him to go with her. Lu Dao couldn't help but asked curiously, "Where are you going?" "Red Flower Valley." "What is that place?" The woman in colorful clothes showed her charming charm and said softly, "That is a man's paradise and a woman's holy land." Lu Dao was puzzled and blinked before hesitatingly asked, "Double Cultivation sect?" "Exactly, little brother, do you like it?" The woman in colorful clothes smiled and invited, "There are countless beautiful women there who are like sisters. As long as you want, they can be like a pair of you, making you want to die and enjoy the bliss of the world." When Lu Dao heard these words, he felt that the blood in his body could not help but boil. The realm of blood refining really makes people's desires rise, and the transformation of qi and blood, even with his firm determination in the martial arts, can't help but cause disturbances in his heart. "Hey, my little brother's cultivation is actually so profound that he has reached the middle stage of blood refining realm." Only then did the woman in Kai realize that Lu Dao's cultivation was not at the early stage of blood refining. At this moment, she was a little surprised. I don't know if Lu Dao hid his cultivation before, or if he made a breakthrough after eradicating the Axe Gang. But, no matter what the situation is, she will not let Lu Dao go. She must get the secrets of Lu Dao. A 17-year-old boy was promoted from the early stage of skin refining to the middle stage of blood refining in just a few days. Such a talent was incredible. In the hundreds of years of history of Red Flower Valley, it has never appeared before. If she gets Lu Dao's secret, not only can she quickly break through to the innate realm, but she can even explore the peak of the martial god. But now that Lu Dao was in the middle stage of blood refining, it was just right. No matter how high his cultivation level was, she couldn't hold it back. Just as he was imagining, he heard Lu Dao refuse. "Sorry, I can't go." The woman in colorful clothes frowned. "Why?" Lu Dao said sternly. "Lu has a firm heart towards martial arts and will not be obsessed with the world of mortals." "Ha ha, little brother is still a prude." The woman in colorful clothes chuckled, then her face turned cold, and she said in a cold voice, "Today, you have to go if you want to go, and if you don't want to go, you have to go." As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Dao was not given a chance to speak. He turned around and flew towards him, stabbing Lu Dao's chest with a long sword without mercy at all. Late stage of blood refining. Lu Dao sensed the woman's cultivation, took out his long sword, and slashed at the long sword. When the swords struck each other, and the golden sound was harsh. The two were instantly separated. 8th level low grade. The woman in colorful clothes was shocked. She never expected that Lu Dao would have an 8th level weapon. Shen Guangxi's letter did not mention this. Just when the woman in Kai was surprised, Lu Dao had already put on the armor, which shocked the woman even more. "Why do you have 8th level iron armor? Did you get a cave?" Lu Dao didn't have time to answer the woman's question, so he followed the wind and stepped forward to launch a fierce attack. "My brother is so cruel and doesn't care about my sister at all." When the woman and Lu Dao fought together, she did not forget to show her charm and influence Lu Dao's mood. But what disappointed her was that Lu Dao was not moved at all. His previous demeanor seemed to be all fake. This made her even more angry and felt doubtful about her own charm. Boom. Both of them are in the realm of blood refining, using qi and blood to run their skills. Their swords are radiating with astonishing destructive power. Lu Dao's yard was destroyed as soon as they fought. Several houses collapsed directly into rubble. When there was another burst of golden iron, and what shocked and angered the woman in colorful clothes was that her 9th level high-grade long sword actually had several cracks in a short period of time. Her attacks were either dodged by Lu Dao, or landed on the armor and were blocked by Lu Dao, without causing much damage to Lu Dao. The woman in colorful clothes cursed secretly. She relied on her higher cultivation than Lu Dao and wanted to take Lu Dao away by force and get Lu Dao's secrets, but she didn't know that Lu Dao's equipment was so much better than hers. Soon the woman was covered in color. Escape. After some testing, the woman knew that there was nothing she could do to Lu Dao and she could only escape, otherwise she might be left behind. After the woman in colorful clothes blocked Lu Dao's attack, she turned around and ran away towards the back mountain. She did not dare to escape from Daifeng Town, fearing that she would be stopped by other blood refining realms in Daifeng Town. Once surrounded, she would probably hate it. Isn't my sister going to be inseparable with her brother? Why did she run away? Lu Dao used his physical skills to catch up, fighting hard and not forgetting to tease him. "You are hateful." The woman in colorful clothes was so angry that she gritted her teeth. She had previously failed to interfere with Lu Dao's words, but now she was interfered by Lu Dao. She couldn't help but said weakly, "Little brother, if you don't let me go, you will hurt my sister." "Does it hurt? Doesn't my sister like it more? You are not Lu Dao at all. You are a 17-year-old boy who doesn't understand this at all. Are you some old monster who took away your body?" The woman in colorful clothes regretted a little. She finally discovered the secret of Lu Dao, but this secret made her regretful. If she had known that it was the old monster who was seizing the body, she would not have rushed to die after being beaten to death. "Now that you know my secret, let's stay alive," Lu Dao said solemnly. It's just that the voice sounds a little childish, not old. Laugh. An extremely sharp sword flashed across and struck the woman in colorful clothes in an instant on her back. The woman in colorful clothes had no time to dodge and had to turn around to resist. Puff. The sword light was chopped into pieces by the sword light, and then struck the long sword. There was a sudden clang, the long sword shook slightly, and the woman's figure froze. Lu Dao took the opportunity to get closer and slashed with his sword again. The woman in colorful clothes had no choice but to wave her sword to resist. Click. There was a clear cracking sound, and the long sword in the woman's hand was cut off directly. The long sword continued to cut through the woman's body. Ah! The woman screamed in surprise, used her body skills, and turned slightly to barely avoid the knife. Before she could escape, Lu Dao struck again and killed her with a knife. "Senior, please spare my life." The woman was so frightened that her face turned pale. She dodged and said quickly, "Senior, please forgive me. This little girl can serve you as a slave." As if he was afraid that Lu Dao wouldn't believe it, he added, "This little girl knows everything, so she will be able to serve you comfortably. Senior can use any means to control this little girl, and this little girl will never resist. It's not a blessing to enjoy." Lu Dao remained unmoved, and before the woman could dodge, he slashed his knife across her thigh. In an instant, a big white leg fell to the ground. "Ah, no, don't kill me." The woman was panicked, and the charming look on her eyebrows made her look a little pitiful. Unfortunately, Lu Dao turned a blind eye to all this. Puff! After losing one leg, the woman could no longer hide away, and finally her neck was cut off by Lu Dao with a knife. Alas, I provoked the Red Flower Valley again for no reason. After Lu Dao killed the woman in colorful clothes, he couldn't help but sigh. Sure enough, the protagonists are all like this. They always provoke some forces for no reason. Can't you let me practice peacefully? We don't have anything to dominate the world. My thoughts. The woman in colorful clothes came here for the dust-removing grass that can improve her qualifications. There shouldn't be many such spiritual grasses in the martial arts world. Maybe she didn't tell anyone else before coming. Lu Dao was deep in thought, not panicking, and very clear-headed. Then he shook his head and denied. But since she knew about the existence of the dust-removing grass, and didn't come to get it as soon as possible, she came after the Axe Gang was destroyed. This means that there is someone in the Axe Gang. After sending her a message, she only knew about the existence of this spiritual grass. If this woman doesn't reply for too long, Honghua Valley may send someone to check it out. Alas. It seems that I have to leave Dafeng Town early and go to Mufeng City. I just want to find out what kind of force Honghua Valley is and what its strength is so that I can deal with it. Lu Dao didn't have much feeling about leaving Dafeng Town early. After all, the original plan was to leave tomorrow, or the day after tomorrow. It's just a little bit of a rush to leave tonight. Lu Dao quickly cleaned the battlefield, then cut down a large number of bamboos and branches and stored them in the system space. Then he knelt down and kowtowed a few times in front of two tombs on the other side of the back mountain to pay homage to his parents. After returning to his yard and packing everything, Lu Dao came to Wu Ming's house. Lu Dao planned to take Wu Ming and his family out of Dafeng Town. Originally this was not in his plan, but after offending Honghua Valley, he had to change his plan. Honghua Valley must be powerful. To such forces, Wu Ming's family of three is not worth mentioning. Once Hongwagu knew about the master-disciple relationship between Lu Dao and Wu Ming, they might get angry at their family and kill him, or force Wu Ming to show up at the cost of his life. That would be an unforeseen disaster for Wu Ming's family. Lu Dao didn't want to see this scene either, so he could only take them away. After Lu Dao informed Wu Ming's parents about the cause and effect of the incident, they were a little panicked, but they had no complaints. After all, it was not Lu Dao's fault. In the end, the family decided to go to Mufeng City with Lu Dao. Afterwards, Lu Dao went to the kung fu shop to meet with He Zongming and bid him farewell. As a result, He Zongming scolded Lu Dao for looking down on him and not caring about the lives of his family. Then, when Lu Dao was confused, He Zongming's family also followed him and left Dafeng Town. In fact, He Zongming had saved some savings over the years and had always planned to leave Dafeng Town and settle down in Mufeng City, but he had never found a suitable opportunity. Now that he met a genius like Lu Dao, he naturally chose to go with him. He also wanted to see where Lu Dao would reach in the future. As for the danger, he wasn't too worried. Mufeng City was relatively safe. In this way, a large group of people set off from Dafeng Town and embarked on the road to Mufeng City. Many people saw Lu Dao's departure and knew it was related to the woman in colorful clothes. Therefore, he was not retained. It's just that the mayor feels a little pity that a genius finally appeared in Dafeng Town, but he left in just a few days. This made him sigh. His newly restored appearance seemed to have aged again. The group, including Lu Dao, Wu Ming's father, and He Zongming's son, all rode horses. The others and the big black dog were riding in the same carriage. Alas, alas, alas! Suddenly, Lu Dao, who was riding a horse, got out of his mind and started shouting. "Brother Dao, what are you doing? Sing." After Lu Dao finished speaking, he continued to sing. "Give me a piece of blue, the man who harnesses the horse, is like the wind, ha, ha, ha." Lu Dao rode on his horse and galloped on the wide road. He couldn't help singing, "Horse Rider." It's just that Lu Dao is tone deaf and can't even sing the tune correctly, giving people a weird feeling when he sings it. If it weren't for the fact that this journey was so boring, He Zongming and others would have stopped them. Just after singing a song, something happened that shocked Lu Dao. He found that a new panel appeared next to the system panel, and a line of text introduction was written on it. Song unnamed 0/1. What is this? A song? Why does it feel like ghosts crying and wolves howling? Is this really sung by a human? Aren't you afraid that human ears will get pregnant? It's too much. Although I am tone deaf, I was once a KTV star, but I was ignored like this. Lu Dao was a little angry, but at the same time he was very surprised. He didn't expect that singing could actually level him up, but what about writing poetry? Do I want to be a singer in this world? Or a Confucian sage? When Lu Dao thought of this, his eyes couldn't help but shine. He felt that his knowledge of the system was far from enough, and he only understood the tip of the iceberg of the system. Next, Lu Dao began to have seizures. Horse roping, horse roping, horse roping. It sounded like cursing, and a group of people couldn't help but look at each other. He Zongming couldn't stand it anymore, and immediately scolded, "Lu Dao, what are you doing? How can you curse people at will? Even if you are forced to leave, there is no need to vent like this in Daifeng Town." "I'm singing, wait a minute." After replying, the next moment, Lu Dao cleared his throat and then said, "Give me a piece." Before he finished singing the lyrics, Lu Dao hurriedly stopped, with a puzzled expression on his face. "That's not right, why hasn't it changed?" Then Lu Dao discovered that this song actually appeared on the dot panel. Skills. Song unnamed 0/1 entry Lu's hammer technique perfection. Quote. Lu Dao was completely speechless. The song he created actually needed to be added. Fortunately, there are still some points of creation left, otherwise this time it would be embarrassing. Lu Dao wiped the sweat from his forehead, added more points decisively, and at the same time commanded the system, change the name of the song to Horse Racing Man. Next moment. Skills. Horse riding Hanzi perfect, Lu's hammer technique perfect. Creation point. 16. Everyone looked at Lu Dao strangely, while Wu Ming shouted, "Brother Dao, come on." Coming. Lu Dao took a deep breath and his tone suddenly changed. "Give me a piece of blue sky, a man who can harness a horse." The accent and melody suddenly became many times better. It even makes people feel as if they are on the prairie, riding a horse at full speed, and suddenly feel open-minded and refreshed. Horse Rider. 799 10,000ths, an entry-level song, low-grade yellow grade. Singing this song with the power of qi and blood, or innate vitality, etc., can make the human body feel a sense of being in the scene without getting lost in it. Enjoy it very much. Not only did everyone seem to have entered the world in the song, but so did the horses. Hiss. Several horses roared almost at the same time, and then their speed suddenly accelerated and they started running quickly on the road. The sudden increase in speed shocked several people and almost fell off their horses. There was also a scream in the carriage, and someone obviously fell. Lu Dao was startled and stopped quickly instead of continuing to sing. Shoo! The horse also gradually stopped and slowed down. "Wow, Brother Lu, what kind of song is this? It sounds so good." He Yuanshuang stuck his head out of the carriage with a gray face and asked Lu Dao, which was really nice. She had never been to the prairie. She had only read about it in her grandfather's books, but at this moment, she seemed to be really wandering in the prairie, intoxicated by the boundless green grass. "Yeah, Brother Dao, you can actually sing. I didn't know it before. It's so amazing." Wu Ming also nodded quickly and looked at Lu Dao's figure with admiration in his eyes. Even others were shocked. One moment, Lu Dao was tone deaf, but they didn't expect that the next moment he would sing such a beautiful song, which made them all feel as if they were in a dreamland. What's even more exaggerated is that the horses are actually affected by the song and run wildly. It seems that there is no camel at all, and there is no horse pulling the carriage, running wildly. This is really amazing. For a song to be able to do this is simply unheard of. Ha ha ha, your brother Dao is the god of singing. Lu Dao laughed and felt very comfortable. While he was happy, Lu Dao felt a little regretful. It's a pity that I don't know how to play a lullaby. Otherwise, after upgrading, I would sing a lullaby before a fight, and I would be able to kill the enemy with a sword without any effort. It is especially suitable for group fights. Alas, I used to. Why not, Daddy? He Yuanshuang said eagerly. Brother Lu, can you teach me how to sing? Brother Dao, I want to learn too. Okay, teach me everything. In this way, a group of people, talking and laughing, finally arrived at Mufeng City, 150 miles away, 2 hours later. Mufeng City is the county seat of Mufeng County. Mufeng City has an extremely high wall, which is 3 meters high and difficult for ordinary warriors to climb. There is a city gate in each of the 4 directions, side by side, which is enough for hundreds of people to enter and exit at the same time. It was already late at night, and Lu Dao and his party finally arrived at Mufeng City after a long journey. After checking the guards at the city gate, everyone finally stepped into Mufeng City. As soon as they entered Mufeng City, Lu Dao and others found that the entire Mufeng City was almost brightly lit even in the middle of the night, and many shops were still open. Pill shops, inns, brothels, restaurants, etc. At this moment, there were many figures coming in and out, which was very lively. Ding! A silver coin fell into the broken bowl. Lu Dao squatted down and asked an old beggar, Uncle, may I ask, which is the best inn in Mufeng City? The old beggar picked up a tael of silver in the bowl with surprise, and hurriedly put it in his arms. He looked at Lu Dao and others before replying, Young man, the best inn in Mufeng City is Tianyan Inn. This inn not only has a comfortable environment, but also has a formation in the inn to prevent others from eavesdropping and peeping, but the price is quite expensive. How to get to Tianyan Inn? The old beggar said, Go straight ahead from this street, and you will see Tianyan Inn in half a quarter of an hour. Thank you. Lu Dao thanked him, got up and rushed to Tianyan Inn with everyone. Welcome to the distinguished guests, please come in. Soon, the group arrived at Tianyan Inn. Tianyan Inn was different from what Lu Dao had seen on TV before. It was called an inn, but it was more like the sales office in the past. In front is the reception area, and in the back is a large courtyard. From a distance, some courtyards are covered with a white light shield, which blocks the courtyard and makes it difficult to see anything inside. Other courtyards can be seen, but they are not very clear due to the line of sight. The waiter and the shopkeeper of the inn are very enthusiastic. Shopkeeper, how much is your room? The shopkeeper is in his 50s, dressed in green, with a white face and no beard. He looks quite ordinary and very kind. His surname is Feng. Shopkeeper Feng smiled and said, If you are together, you can live in a larger courtyard with 6 rooms. The accommodation fee is 100 taels per day. For every additional day, the daily accommodation fee will increase by 100 taels. Hiss. Everyone couldn't help but take a breath. 100 taels per day, this is too expensive. Lu Dao secretly converted it to China, that is 100,000 per day. This is just a county town. Moreover, this is the price for the first day. Every day after that, 100 taels will be added. This is simply a black shop, a robbery. Lu Dao thought for a moment and asked again, Boss, how safe is your Tianyan Inn? Don't worry, as long as you stay at Tianyan Inn for 1 day, we will absolutely guarantee your safety. Even if it is a congenital strongman, it will never cause you any harm. Boss Feng smiled and said, In addition, the inn has arranged formations for each courtyard to prevent all prying. Even if a congenital strongman wants to peek with his spiritual sense, it will cause the formation to warn. The cost of the formation is the same as accommodation. Lu Dao nodded. It is very safe, and there is no need to worry about some secrets being exposed. For him, safety and privacy are important, and the amount of money does not matter. Then stay for a day, and the protective formation will be activated. Okay, wait a moment, sir. Storekeeper Feng quickly registered Lu Dao and others, and handed the key to Lu Dao, and then said, "Do you need cooling ice beads?" Lu Dao was stunned. "What are cooling ice beads?" Storekeeper Feng recommended. "The cooling ice beads can be placed in the yard, which can emit cold air and lower the temperature of the yard. In this way, the guests will not feel hot. It is especially suitable for use when it is hot. It is very comfortable and easier to fall asleep at night." Lu Dao couldn't help but stare at the words. Isn't this equivalent to air conditioning? But it can only cool, not heat. 1. Lu Dao became interested. It was summer now, and the weather was very hot. Usually, he would sweat profusely when forging iron. Unexpectedly, he could enjoy air conditioning in the martial arts world. Storekeeper Feng said with a smile, 100 taels per bead, and it can only be used for 1 day. After 1 day, the ice bead will melt. Lu Dao was dumbfounded. This is too expensive. This is really a robbery. Which ordinary family can spend 100,000 yuan a day on air conditioning? Okay, let's try one. Lu Dao decided to buy one, but he had his own thoughts in his mind. After paying the money, Feng immediately handed Lu Dao a small square box. The cooling ice beads were placed in the small box. This small box is made of a kind of bark. The cold air emitted by the ice beads, after being emitted through the small box, gives people a warm and cool feeling, very cool. Sir, this way is clear. Soon, the waiter brought Lu Dao and others to a large courtyard. After the waiter recorded the breath of everyone with the key, he handed the key to Lu Dao. This key can be used to open the courtyard door in the formation. This is a quadrangle with 6 rooms, 2 toilets, and even a place to keep pets. In the middle of the quadrangle, there is a small pond, on which stands a round basin, in the middle of which stands a square column, and in the middle of which stands a groove. The waiter said to Lu Dao, "Sir, this groove is specially designed for ice beads. You can put the ice bead box in the groove. In this way, the cold air emitted by the ice beads will spread to the surrounding room just right, not too cold. If you put the ice beads next to you, the temperature will be too low and it will easily cause discomfort. In addition, it is recommended not to open the box to prevent the ice beads from melting too quickly. If you want to open it, you must pick it up with the power of blood and qi, otherwise it will endanger your life. As for the skin refining realm, don't touch it." Lu Dao nodded, thinking of the little trick in his mind, and asked directly, "Waiter, if this ice bead is placed in water, can the water also be frozen into ice?" "Yes, it can, but in this way, the melting speed of the ice bead will be accelerated, and the ice cubes you make in this way will not last long. It is recommended that you do not try it." The waiter guessed that Lu Dao was planning to save money and make ice beads by himself. Unfortunately, this kind of ice beads is not that simple, so he kindly dissuaded him. "Well, I understand." Lu Dao smiled slightly. Then the guest should rest early. The waiter left. Lu Dao used the key to open the protective array, took a look at the light shield above his head, and waved his hand. The bedding, clothes, etc. of Wu Ming's family and He Zongming's family were released from the system space. Today's system space is constantly expanding with the improvement of Lu Dao's cultivation. Every time a small realm is promoted, the length, width and height of the system are doubled. Now that Lu Dao is in the middle stage of blood refining, the system space has reached an astonishing 16*16*16, 4096 cubic meters. The things of just 2 families don't take up much space at all. Several people silently picked up the bedding and clothes with a trace of sadness on their faces. Even Wu Ming and He Yuanshuang were like this. Obviously, they were all shocked by the price of the inn and understood the nature of this store. Lu Dao said, "Don't worry, money is not a problem, don't worry." He Zongming also said, "Yes, a few silver coins are not worth mentioning to Lu Dao, go to sleep peacefully." Knowing that Lu Dao could build a 9th grade top grade armor in a short time, he didn't worry at all that Lu Dao would be short of money. After hearing what Lu Dao and He Zongming said, everyone felt relieved. The old man's words are still quite useful. "Everyone, rest tonight, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. It's late now, it's already late at night, and it will be dawn soon." Back in the room, Lu Dao took out a small cloth bag. This was obtained from the colorful clothed woman, and it was a storage treasure. Before, he was too busy and had no time to look through it. Now that he was free, Lu Dao hurriedly sorted out his gains. Lu Dao circulated the power of qi and blood and poured out all the things inside. The space inside the cloth bag was not large, only about 1 square meter. There were not many things in it. There were more than 20 bottles of blood medicine, a few books, some herbs, and a letter. In addition, there were some clothes of the woman, whether it was outer clothes or underwear, they were all varied and fancy. Lu Dao felt that if he took them to China to sell, they would definitely be regarded as alternative uniforms. The business must be booming. This Red Flower Valley is quite colorful, Lu Dao said with a sigh. Some clothes look very serious, and even give people a sense of coolness, but there are holes cut in some places, and there are silk shapes, as if giving people a hazy feeling of seeing flowers in the fog, making people can't help but find out. After Lu Dao looked at the clothes one by one, he put them away without any interest. Then he looked at the other books. As soon as he opened the first book, Lu Dao was very interested. The book has a lot of content, and the illustrations are accompanied by text descriptions. It is about a man and a woman fighting. The fight is so tragic that even the clothes are gone and they are naked. The two of them fought so hard that they forgot everything and were immersed in the fight. Every move makes people fascinated. Some look very primitive, with simple movements, but give people a sense of simplicity. Some moves look quite strange and difficult, making people feel as if they are reading a heavenly book, too profound and difficult to understand in a short time. Lu Dao seemed to be watching a movie of two people, watching with relish, sometimes suddenly realizing, indicating that he has learned, sometimes frowning and thinking deeply, indicating that this is okay. In the blink of an eye, an hour passed. Lu Dao finally finished the book and gained a lot. Lu Dao carefully put this secret book containing the original avenue of heaven and earth into the system space, and then looked at several other books. These books are all secret books of martial arts, swordsmanship, blood-refining martial arts, and body skills. The blood-refining martial arts among them made Lu Dao raise his eyebrows. This martial arts book turned out to be a martial arts book that expounded the avenue of yin and yang, a kind of blood-quenching secret book that replenished yin with yang. The yin side naturally gained a lot, while the yang side lost all its blood and qi, was sucked away by the yin, lost all its essence, and its blood-refining cultivation was turned into nothing. It can be said to be vicious. It was a close call. I almost became a dead soul under my crotch. Lu Dao couldn't help but feel scared, and then he sorted everything out before slowly falling asleep. This sleep Lu Dao slept particularly sweetly. In the past few days, it was too hot at night, and I couldn't sleep because I tossed and turned in bed, and I often suffered from insomnia. This is probably a common problem among Chinese youths. They suffer from severe insomnia, can't sleep at night, and can't wake up in the morning. Fortunately, after he was promoted to the blood-refining realm, this situation improved a lot, and tonight, with the ice-bead air conditioner, he slept very comfortably. The next day, it was already dawn. Lu Dao slowly woke up. Due to insomnia in the past few days and his tense spirit, Lu Dao did not sleep well. Today, he finally slept well. Others also knew that Lu Dao was very tired these days and had fought battles one after another, so they did not wake him up and let him sleep until he woke up naturally. Good morning. Lu Dao left the room and came to the yard, and found that He Zongming was teaching He Yuanshuang to practice, guiding her movements and breathing, so that she could quickly understand the key points of the exercises. On the side, Wu Ming was also practicing seriously. Others were chatting and getting familiar with each other. When Wu Ming saw Lu Dao coming out, he hurriedly shouted, "Brother Dao, come and see if I am practicing correctly." Lu Dao smiled slightly, carefully pointed out Wu Ming, corrected a few mistakes, and made Wu Ming suddenly realize. Seeing this, He Zongming couldn't help but smile and said, "Lu Dao, you should also give some pointers to my Yuanshuang. You can't be partial to one over the other." Of course, no problem. Lu Dao naturally agreed, took the technique handed over by He Zongming, and then added some points and gave some pointers, all in one go. Even some of the subtle points that Lu Dao pointed out were not noticed by He Zongming himself before. He had never comprehended the perfect state of this technique. When Lu Dao gave He Yuanshuang pointers, he also gained a lot. The other four were shocked that Lu Dao had learned the entire technique so quickly, and could easily give pointers to He Yuanshuang. Only then did they realize how amazing Lu Dao's talent was. After the pointers, The two little guys practiced side by side in the yard. He Zongming stood beside Lu Dao and said, I didn't realize that Wu Ming is a talented kid. I feel he is better than my Yuan Shuang. Did you know that? Lu Dao smiled and said, his talent is a little bit better than that of an average person. He Zongming rolled his eyes. He Yuan Shuang's talent is better than that of an average person, but Wu Ming is even better than he Yuan Shuang. Is this more than just a little bit better than an average person? Lu Dao didn't explain much. It's better to keep the improvement of talent a secret. Lu Dao walked to the pond in the middle of the yard, took out a small box from the round basin, opened the small box, and took out the ice beads inside. The ice beads were only the size of a fist, and the whole body was emitting cold air. Lu Dao took a look at the small box and found that the inner wall of the small box was full of tiny ice beads, while the outside did not feel wet at all. Obviously, this small box was not simple. Lu Dao held the ice bead in his hand, and a wave of freezing feeling came from his hand. If it were not for the circulation of qi and blood, I am afraid that his palm would be frozen soon. Lu Dao squatted down and put the ice bead into the pond. Almost instantly, the water near the ice bead began to freeze. Brother Dao, what are you doing? Wu Ming asked curiously. He Zongming, He Yuan Shuang and others also looked at Lu Dao strangely. Doing experiments, stand far away, don't get close. After Lu Dao waited for the water near the ice bead to freeze, he quickly took out the ice cubes in the pond and kneaded them into an ice bead of the same fist size. The ice cubes made had text descriptions, and as Lu Dao kneaded them into ice beads, the text descriptions also changed. The ice cubes turned into ice beads. Ice beads. 0/1 very fragile ice beads, only -7 C, no use except for playing, will completely melt in less than half a minute in the current environment. Lu Dao held the ice beads in his hand, waiting for the ice beads to gain experience. He believed that as long as the ice beads played its freezing role, no matter how small the role was, they would gain experience, just like chopsticks, axes, etc. They gain experience not because of how much use they played during use, as long as they played a role, they would definitely gain experience. Sure enough, in just a breath of time, the ice beads gained 100 experience points. Upgrade. Lu Dao upgraded decisively. Ice beads. 99/10 upgradable -20 C, can freeze injuries and relieve pain, will completely melt in about half an hour in the current environment. Lu Dao's eyes lit up. You guys are busy, I'll see if I can make the same ice beads. After leaving a word, Lu Dao picked up the small box and ran back to his room, leaving a group of people looking at each other. Others bought such expensive ice beads in the inn, how can they be made just by wanting to? Upgrade again. Ice beads. 68, the temperature is relatively low, and it can freeze almost everything around it at a very fast speed. If your cultivation is lower than the blood refining realm, it is recommended not to touch it. It will completely melt in about 6 hours under the current environment. Lu Dao found that this temperature was the same as the ice beads sold in Tianyan Inn, and the temperature was almost the same. Lu Dao was delighted. He did not stop and continued to gain experience. At this time, the freezing power of the ice beads increased greatly, not only acting on Lu Dao, but everything in the room was constantly affected, and the experience increased rapidly. Lu Dao directly put the ice beads into the small box. Upgrade. Ice beads. 1433 1000 upgradable -140 C, extremely low temperature, can freeze an ordinary person to death in a few seconds. If your cultivation is lower than the blood refining realm, do not touch it, it can last for a month under the current environment. Hiss. The moment he upgraded, Lu Dao could not help but shiver all over his body. According to his estimation, with the box, the freezing power is only slightly worse than -75 C without the box. Now, Lu Dao dared not try again. He was worried that if he continued to upgrade, he might reach absolute zero. Ice beads enter the next level, wouldn't it be absolute zero? Lu Dao was a little skeptical. After thinking about it, Lu Dao went to the shopkeeper of Tianyan Inn to buy a few bigger boxes. But their boxes were all the same size. Lu Dao bought a few more, then took them apart and made a bigger box himself. Thermal insulation box. 0/1 very simple. There is also a leaky thermal insulation box, which can isolate the temperature by 3 degrees. Quote. Lu Dao was speechless. This 3 degrees is not as good as 0 degrees directly. Upgrade. Thermal insulation box. 0 100ths ordinary thermal insulation box, can isolate 100 degrees. Thermal insulation box. 0 1000ths excellent thermal insulation box, can isolate 200 degrees. Thermal insulation box. 0 10,000ths 9th grade inferior thermal insulation box, can isolate 400 degrees. With the thermal insulation box that can isolate 400 degrees, Lu Dao let the ice bead, which had already been full of experience, upgrade directly in the box. Ice bead. 10,000 upgradable 9th grade inferior, has reached absolute zero, will not melt in the current environment. With the power of blood or innate vitality, it can instantly freeze everything within a radius of 10 meters, even if it is the blood refining realm or the bone forging realm, it can be instantly frozen and there is no escape. So strong. Lu Dao was shocked. This was only absolute zero, and the ice bead could continue to upgrade, and perhaps the temperature could continue to drop. Isn't absolute zero the lowest temperature of ice? Lu Dao was a little skeptical, then reacted and said, "Oh, right, this is the martial arts world, then it's okay." Lu Dao didn't think about it anymore. He found that the ice bead he made might become a powerful weapon in the future. Give me a piece of ice, I can freeze the whole world. Lu Dao, are you okay? Everyone is hungry. It'll be ready soon. Experience plus 100. Experience plus 100. In the room, Lu Dao had already carefully put the insulating box and ice beads into the system space, and turned to the chopsticks to gain experience crazily. Lu Dao directly poured a bowl of flour into the wooden basin, then dropped a drop of blood medicine and began to stir. After upgrading your chopsticks, you can use them to pick up and turn vegetables, and you can't help but want to eat them. But Lu Dao thought that chopsticks have many functions, not only for eating and picking up vegetables, but also for kneading noodles and stirring potions. If this is the case, then he will use it in another way. This way, you won't feel like eating when using chopsticks, right? As expected, when kneading noodles, that feeling of wanting to eat disappears. Moreover, Lu Dao had already concluded through previous experiments that the experience gained from swords and arrows in different cultivation levels was different, and there was a huge difference. The same is true for chopsticks. Therefore, Lu Dao directly tried the blood medicine used in the blood refining realm. As he expected, his experience increased dramatically. Each time is 100 experience, 100 times faster than before, saving time and effort. Just like that, Lu Dao held a lot of chopsticks and stirred crazily in the wooden basin, round and round. Lu Dao soon gained all his experience, then put everything directly into the system space and walked out of the room. Let's go and eat. A group of people came to the second floor of Tianyan Inn. Braised glazed pork, stir-fried liver and kidneys, tomato and egg soup. During breakfast time, Lu Dao ordered lunch dishes, mainly because he wanted to try something new. It's been several days since I arrived in this world, and I haven't eaten much good food yet. And the glazed pig he ordered was extremely expensive. A plate of braised pork cost 50 taels. The stir-fried liver and kidneys were also glazed pig, and the eggs in the tomato and egg soup were not ordinary eggs. A table of 8 dishes and 1 soup cost more than 300 taels. The money spent made everyone else feel a little heartbroken, but only Lu Dao and He Zongming didn't care. Of course, expensive means expensive. After eating these vegetables, as long as they are refined within a short period of time, your cultivation level will be greatly improved. After eating and drinking, the others brought some leftovers back to the big black dog. Lu Dao and He Zongming went to the first floor of the inn and found shopkeeper Feng. "What, you want to discuss business with me?" Shopkeeper Feng looked at Lu Dao and the others with some surprise, and then welcomed them into a nearby room. "First, I made a cup of tea for Lu Dao and the others." Shopkeeper Feng asked with a smile, "I wonder what business you two want to discuss." Lu Dao did not answer, but said to himself, "When I was eating on your second floor earlier, I found that many guests were very interested in some of your dishes and wanted to order them. However, either their parents didn't like it or they didn't want to order it. Let the children order, or the children don't like to eat, so the parents can only order other dishes." Shopkeeper Feng must be familiar with this situation, right? "Yes, this is very common. It happens almost every day in our inn." Shopkeeper Feng nodded and said, "Who is not in this situation?" Everyone's taste is different, and the natural selection is also different. Some like sweet, some like spicy, and some like sour. Shopkeeper Feng smiled and didn't understand why Lu Dao mentioned this problem. Could it be that he couldn't solve it? The matter of eating is inherently difficult for everyone to agree on. Who can change this? Lu Dao smiled faintly, took out a pair of chopsticks and placed them in front of Shopkeeper Feng, saying, "These are a pair of chopsticks that can change people's eating choices. Even if they don't like food, they can still be eaten with gusto as long as they are eaten with these chopsticks." Shopkeeper Feng's eyes suddenly lit up. They are actually 8th level low-grade chopsticks. Shopkeeper Feng was a little surprised. Chopsticks are so common in life, but he had never seen them before. "Are these chopsticks as exaggerated as you said?" Lu Dao said. Shopkeeper Feng can try it himself. "Ah, by the way, I wonder if Shopkeeper Feng's cultivation has reached the innate realm." "What do you mean by your words?" Shopkeeper Feng's eyes were half squinted. "I'm sorry, the shopkeeper." Lu Dao apologized. "The main reason is that these chopsticks only have this effect on those below the innate realm, and are ineffective on people who have reached the innate realm." "Oh, that's interesting." Shopkeeper Feng directly called 2 waiters and asked them to verify the effectiveness of the chopsticks. The result: "Boss, it seems true. You know I never eat bitter melon, but now, with these chopsticks, I just picked up a piece and couldn't help but want to eat it." As soon as he finished speaking, the waiter immediately started eating, and then the second, third. Likewise, the other waiter did the same. He ate the eggplant that he had never touched before, but he didn't look disgusted at all. He Zongming on the side looked at this scene and couldn't help but glance at Lu Dao in surprise. Lu Dao looked calm, not surprised at all. Chopsticks. 0/1 million, 8th level low grade, below the innate realm. Use these chopsticks to eat food, and you will never suffer from anorexia. Even the most disgusting food will be eaten, and when eating, the taste will not change. There is no change, but in my heart I no longer reject it, I even enjoy its taste. It's great news for anorexics." Lu Dao thought like this, looked at Shopkeeper Feng who was already moved, and said, "Shopkeeper, how do you do?" "Yes, these chopsticks work really well." Shopkeeper Feng nodded. With such chopsticks, once they are launched in the inn, there is no doubt that the business of their inn will be better, but just one pair will definitely not be enough. Shopkeeper Feng asked directly, "I wonder how many chopsticks like this Mr. Lu has." "How much do you plan to buy, Shopkeeper Feng?" Lu Dao said with a smile. Shopkeeper Feng asked with a smile, "Did these chopsticks come from the hands of Xiao Shilu? Did you make them yourself?" Lu Dao said, "Yes, Lu's ancestors have always been in the chopstick business. Unfortunately, no one has made advanced chopsticks for dozens of generations. Fortunately, the mercy of God has allowed Lu's generation to finally make chopsticks. It's a pity that he can't go further to reach the level of chopsticks, otherwise if he can enter the innate eye, Lu may be able to reach the sky in one step." As Lu Dao spoke, he couldn't help but sigh. He Zongming listened to Lu Dao's words and drank tea silently, covering up the corners of his mouth that couldn't help but twitch. Shopkeeper Feng nodded when he heard this. He didn't know whether he believed what Lu Dao said. He just thought about it and said, "Then I will order 100 pairs first. If the effect is good, we can cooperate again in the future." Lu Dao suddenly smiled. The effect will definitely be good, and the business of Tianyan Inn will be even more prosperous. "At what price are you going to sell it to me, Mr. Lu?" Lu Dao said seriously. "Although my chopsticks are 8th level low-grade items, they are different from ordinary high-level items. The price can be cheaper than seniors. Ordinary 8th level low-level items are usually 10,000 taels of silver each. I'll give you a pair of these chopsticks at 9,000. Shopkeeper Feng's mouth twitched when he heard this, and so did he Zongming beside him. A pair of chopsticks, 9,000 taels of silver. No, no, no. Shopkeeper Feng shook his head repeatedly and said, "Young Master Lu, you are not doing business sincerely. There are no chopsticks worth this price. Chopsticks are only used for eating. This price is inappropriate." Then Shopkeeper Feng changed the topic again and said, "However, I can't take advantage of a junior like you. Although these chopsticks are not very useful, they have reached the advanced level after all. 1,000 taels, maybe, a pair of 1,000 taels. No, no, senior, how can you bargain like this? Others bargain at the waist, but you are cutting from the ankle. If you bargain like this, Lu will not be able to afford to eat. Lu Dao also shook his head repeatedly, and then changed the topic and said, however, we will stay in your inn for a while, so I'll treat it as a favor to our seniors. 8,000, no less, 8,000 taels a pair. It's still too expensive. Although the effect of these chopsticks seems to be good, it is only for those special groups. It doesn't make any difference for ordinary people to use it. 2,000 for a pair, can't be any higher. Just like that, with He Zongming and the two waiters looking a little confused, the old man and the young man were arguing wildly in the room about the price of chopsticks. Just like buying vegetables at the wet market, I will return them after you chop them, and you chop them after I return them. He Zongming didn't expect Lu Dao to have such sales ability, and the waiter had never seen his shopkeeper bargain so hard. After much back and forth, the final price was fixed at 5,000 taels a pair. 100 pairs were sold, with a total price of 500,000 taels. A pleasure to work with, a pleasure to work with. Seeing Lu Dao and shopkeeper Feng clasping fists and saluting each other with a smile on his face, He Zongming looked a little dazed. 500,000 taels. He has been spreading the practice all his life, and has never seen even 10,000 taels, let alone 500,000 taels. As a result, Lu Dao only sold 100 pairs of chopsticks and sold 500,000. If anyone had told him before that he could make money selling chopsticks, he wouldn't have believed it. Brother Lu, what happened to my grandfather? As soon as the two returned to the yard, He Yuanshuang saw his grandfather in a trance and Lu Dao with an excited face. He couldn't help but ask. It's okay, your grandpa just suffered a little shock. Lu Dao replied casually, his face still full of excitement. 500,000 taels of silver, converted to China, that is 500 million yuan. Lu Dao had never seen so much money in his previous life. At this moment, Lu Dao felt so fulfilled. No matter which world you are in, it feels so good to have money. What happened to Grandpa? He Yuanshuang supported He Zongming worriedly. He Zongming asked his granddaughter with lifeless eyes, Yuanshuang, is Grandpa useless? Ah, He Yuanshuang opened her mouth in surprise and said hurriedly, no, Grandpa is the pillar of our family. Without Grandpa, we would not have our current life. What happened to you, Grandpa? He Zongming murmured. Grandpa has earned a lifetime of money, but it is not as much as your brother Lu's pair of chopsticks. A pair of chopsticks? He Yuanshuang was a little confused and didn't quite understand what Grandpa said. Grandpa, what are you talking about, are you okay? I say, old man, is it that serious? You are so old, you have seen all kinds of storms, and you can't stand such a little stimulation. Lu Dao pouted on the side. He Zongming suddenly became excited, puffing his beard and glaring, saying, you make it easy. If you find out that you earn less money in your lifetime than from selling a pair of chopsticks, you will be more excited than me. No, not at all. Lu Dao shook his head and said slowly, I have known it for a long time. I have seen, well, heard that someone sold a painting for 1 million taels of silver, and that painting has not yet entered the rank. Impossible, how did you know about this? How come I don't know? He Zongming was suspicious. Lu Dao smiled and said, of course it's true. Why would I lie to you? Oh, I see. The person who painted the picture must be someone special, a master above the innate. Lu Dao shook his head. No, he's just an ordinary person, without any cultivation. How is this possible? How can an ordinary painting be worth so much money? He Zongming didn't believe it at all. Could it be a painting of a master? Or, don't guess, it's none of them. Lu Dao interrupted He Zongming's guess and said, they are all ordinary, and I once heard that someone made hundreds of thousands of taels of silver by singing a song. So, you should be more open-minded and take it easy. You will get used to this kind of thing after seeing it more often. He Zongming rolled his eyes at Lu Dao's comforting words. How could he get used to this kind of thing? But as soon as this thought came to his mind, he couldn't help but glance at Lu Dao, and then silently retracted it. Yes, he might really see a lot of such things in the future. Just get used to it. Grandpa, are you saying that Brother Lu sold a pair of chopsticks for a lot of money? At this time, He Yuanshuang seemed to have reacted a little, his eyes widened, and he said in a silly way, more than you have earned in your entire life. Heartbreaking. He Zongming finally recovered, and was stabbed by his granddaughter again. He felt a little pain in his heart, but he could only say helplessly, "Yes, just now your brother Lu went to sell chopsticks, and sold a pair of chopsticks for 5,000 taels. Wow, 5,000 taels. So much." He Yuan Shuang opened his mouth in surprise, looking at Lu Dao with an incredible face, which gradually turned into admiration. What 5,000 taels? Others also came out of the room at this time and asked one after another. Finally, He Zongming told the story of selling chopsticks, which immediately shocked everyone. 500,000 taels. No one could believe this was true. Selling chopsticks for 500,000 taels. It was just like a fairy tale. No wonder Lu Dao didn't care much about accommodation, ice beads, ordering dishes, etc. before, and didn't feel sorry for the money at all. It turns out that this money is really not worth mentioning to him. Brother Dao, those chopsticks, are we? Wu Ming excitedly grabbed Lu Dao's hand, wanting to ask something, but didn't ask directly, his eyes shining. Lu Dao smiled slightly and nodded. Yes, Xiaoming also contributed a lot to the sale of these chopsticks. When this was said, everyone looked over. Especially Wu Ming's parents, surprised. Xiaoming also contributed. Then hesitantly said, "But, what can a child like him do to help with the entry-level chopsticks? Why can't he help?" Wu Ming felt a little wronged when he heard this, as if his parents didn't believe him, which made him very unhappy. Lu Dao touched Wu Ming's head and smiled. "Not only can he help, you can too." "Can we?" Now, everyone looked at Lu Dao expectantly, not knowing what kind of help Lu Dao was talking about. "Yes, this is quite simple." As he said this, Lu Dao took out a branch and made a pair of chopsticks. Then he put the chopsticks into the wooden basin and stirred them, saying, "Just keep stirring like this." Ah, so simple. What's the use of this? Even He Zongming didn't understand. There is a blood medicine for practicing in the blood refining realm in this basin. If the chopsticks want to be made into an entry-level object, they need to be contaminated with the blood of this high-level object when they are initially made. Lu Dao said casually, "This is the simplest step, and it is also the only step you can help with. I need to do the other tedious steps myself. You just need to help me stir like this. This is simple, just leave it to us." Wu Ming's father Wu Tianyu agreed immediately, and the others nodded. Lu Dao smiled and said, "Thank you everyone." Of course, Lu Dao will not let everyone's help go in vain. "From now on, I will give you every pair of chopsticks." Before Lu Dao finished speaking, He Zongming interrupted, "Why are you talking about this? It's not troublesome to be busy. We use your money for food and accommodation now. Now I can do something for you, and I can still ask for your money. Not rewarded." Wu Tianyu also said, "That is, our family relies on you now, and Xiaoming relies on you to practice. Now that I can help a little, I will feel more at ease, otherwise I will always feel embarrassed." "Forget it, let's not talk about these for now." Lu Dao shook his head helplessly, "Let's wait until we settle down later." "That's right." He Zongming chuckled, then picked up the remaining branches and wanted to help make chopsticks. "It's okay anyway, I'll help you with it. Don't move, I'll do it." Lu Dao hurriedly stopped and explained, "The first step of making chopsticks must be done by me myself. You can just help me cut off the branches and I will peel them." "Okay, you peel it." He Zongming didn't insist, but just frowned. Suddenly, he asked with some hindsight, "Lu Dao, was your ancestor a chopstick maker?" He had forgotten to ask before. All he knew about Lu Dao's family was that they were blacksmiths, which had nothing to do with chopsticks. Lu Dao said again, "Yes, my ancestors were making chopsticks. Later, when they stopped making money, they switched to blacksmithing." Oh, He Zongming was stunned, not knowing whether he believed it or not. Wu Tianyu and his wife didn't understand this either, so they didn't ask any more questions. Next, Lu Dao took out a large number of branches and made simple chopsticks, and then asked everyone to help gain experience. In the end, a large number of thousands of pairs of chopsticks were made. "Be careful, don't break it," Lu Dao warned. He Zongming said angrily, "I still need you to remind me that this pair of chopsticks is 5,000 taels. If it breaks, even if you don't care, we will all be heartbroken." That's right. This group of people are very careful when brushing up their experience, for fear of breaking their chopsticks. If one is broken, it will be 2,500 taels, and if one pair is broken, it will be 5,000 taels. Lu Dao was willing to let go, but none of them were willing to let go. In this way, Lu Dao's small group for brushing experience took shape. Lu Dao didn't know much about other people, so he naturally didn't dare to invite them. But relatively speaking, he knew a lot about Wu Ming's family and He Zongming's family, and he also trusted them. Therefore, Lu Dao decided to let them help him gain experience. Of course, Lu Dao will not treat them badly, not only in terms of quality of life. When his cultivation level improves, even if he allows them to take a further step in martial arts, there will be no problem. Don't hang around here, go practice. He Zongming knew that their small group mainly relied on Lu Dao. Only when Lu Dao's cultivation was profound, they would be safer and everything would be more secure. Okay, I'll go practice. Lu Dao was also happy with this. Whatever you want to eat, just buy it, no need to save money, but don't leave the inn for the time being. Lu Dao left 10,000 taels of silver notes for each of the two families, and without waiting for everyone to refuse, he flashed back to the room. By the way, don't call me for dinner, I'm going to close myself. Lu Dao was originally going to practice to the late stage of blood refining in one breath yesterday, but he encountered the colorful woman in Red Flower Valley. But he was not far from the late stage of blood refining, and he only needed to refine 2 more bottles of blood medicine. When practicing, devote yourself wholeheartedly, and time will pass quickly. Almost in a blink of an eye, 2 hours passed. Lu Dao also successfully refined 2 bottles of blood medicine, and his cultivation level was raised to the late stage of blood refining, and he was only 1 step away from the bone forging realm. It must be said that Lu Dao's cultivation speed is very fast. In just 2 or 3 days, he advanced from the early stage of skin refining to the late stage of blood refining, and walked the martial arts road that others could not finish in their lifetime. After the blood metamorphosis twice, Lu Dao found that his blood power had increased several times. The blood in his body was like a stream, rushing endlessly, and every time it circulated, his body seemed to be stronger. Then continue, and strive to break through to the bone forging realm as soon as possible. Lu Dao was not satisfied, he just hoped that his cultivation level would be as high as possible. Lu Dao decided to retreat for 15 hours in a row, and he would not come out of retreat until his cultivation level broke through the bone forging realm. With Lu Dao's instructions, no one else came to disturb Lu Dao. In this way, Lu Dao immersed himself in his own cultivation. 1 bottle, 5 bottles, 10 bottles. 1 hour, 5 hours, 10 hours. Time is like the water in the toilet, it is drawn quickly and flows quickly. In a blink of an eye, 13 hours have passed. Buzz. Lu Dao, who was sitting cross-legged on the bed, devoted to cultivation, shook slightly, and then a strong momentum spread out from his body, and the blood and chi power spread out from his body, filling the whole room. Lu Dao finally refined 15 bottles of blood medicine, and his blood also completely completed the 3rd transformation at this moment, and was promoted to the bone forging realm. Lu Dao found that the blood after the 3rd transformation actually had a trace of gold. It looked very light and inconspicuous, but it was 10 times stronger than the 2nd transformation. This was the breakthrough of the great realm. Tisk tisk, the bone forging realm is really powerful. Lu Dao felt his own cultivation and strength and was very satisfied. Lu Dao was not proud of such a fast improvement speed, because the first 4 realms were mainly to temper the body, which can actually be regarded as a great realm. His martial arts road has just started. Then, Lu Dao practiced for more than an hour, stabilized his cultivation, and then came out. Sure enough, you have broken through again. Hey, that's not right. As soon as he went out, Lu Dao found that everyone else was in the yard, and it was obvious that they were shocked by the powerful momentum he showed when he broke through before. You broke through to the bone refining realm. He Zongming's voice was a little trembling. He thought Lu Dao had only broken through to the late stage of blood refining, but he didn't expect that at first glance, he seemed to be stronger than the late stage of blood refining. That can only be the bone refining realm. But, how long has it been? 2 breakthroughs in a day. This is not the skin refining stage, but the blood refining stage. How come the speed of cultivation is not affected at all? Lu Dao smiled and said, not bad, a lucky breakthrough. He Zongming rolled his eyes and was completely convinced. Wow, Brother Dao is so amazing. Wow, Brother Lu is so strong. The two little guys were immediately excited, feeling happier than their own breakthrough. Is this the bone refining realm? He Yuanshuang's parents completely understood why he Zongming was so absent-minded recently. He was really stimulated too much. They are the same now. It feels so unreal. While Wu Tianyu and his wife were happy, they were also a little worried. Everyone could practice, but they were ordinary people. They didn't know the difference between these martial arts realms. Lu Dao had no way to deal with this for the time being. Both of them were in their 30s. It was too late to start practicing now. It would be difficult to gain anything in a short period of time. Lu Dao did have a root of the dust-removing grass, but even if he cultivated the dust-removing grass, he would definitely use it first. As for Wu Tianyu and his wife, they could only wait and see. Let's go. It's time for dinner. Everyone quickly arrived at the second floor of the inn. They ordered dishes without hesitation, just to celebrate Lu Dao's breakthrough. Lu Dao and others ate and drank a lot, but the shopkeeper Feng who passed by was a little surprised and doubtful. How come this kid suddenly reached the bone refining realm? He clearly remembered that Lu Dao was still in the middle stage of blood refining yesterday. How come he has reached the bone refining realm after not seeing him for a day? He even suspected whether Lu Dao had hidden his cultivation, but looking at everyone's expressions, they were indeed celebrating Lu Dao's breakthrough. There's something strange about this kid. After dinner, Lu Dao and He Zongming came to Manager Feng. Lu Dao smiled and said, "It seems that the inn's business has been very good these 2 days. It's all thanks to young Master Lu." Shopkeeper Feng replied with a smile. Since he was willing to spend 500,000 taels of silver to buy these chopsticks, he naturally saw their value in attracting customers. Sure enough, once the effect of chopsticks was launched, in just 1 day, the number of guests eating at Tianyan Inn, where most of the guests stayed, suddenly increased several times. These people come to the inn with some curiosity to try. As a result, they all gave very satisfactory comments after the meal. In just 1 day, it brought tens of thousands of profits to Tianyan Inn. When these people spread the word again, the business of their Tianyan Inn will be even more prosperous. Lu Dao took the opportunity to lie down on the counter and said, "Shopkeeper Feng, I want to ask you something." "What's up?" Lu Dao asked. "How much does the shopkeeper know about Red Flower Valley?" Shopkeeper Feng seemed to know what Lu Dao wanted to ask, and said directly, "The strength of Honghua Valley is not bad. The 2 valley masters have broken through to the innate realm not long ago, and there are more than a dozen elders in the Zhang refining realm, and dozens in the bone forging realm." Quote. Lu Dao nodded. Knowing the specific strength of Honghua Valley, he felt confident, while He Zongming's face looked a little heavy. Lu Dao then asked, "Shopkeeper Feng, how to get to the Kung Fu shop in Mufeng City?" Shopkeeper Feng came to the door of the inn, pointed to the street in the distance, and said, "Go forward 1 mile, and there is a Kung Fu pavilion on the left street. All Kung Fu under the innate realm are sold." Lu Dao's eyes lit up. "Thank you so much, Shopkeeper Feng." Immediately, Lu Dao and He Zongming left the inn and headed towards the Kung Fu pavilion. "This guy seems to have great talent. We have to find a way to recruit him." Shopkeeper Feng looked at Lu Dao's leaving figure, touched his chin, and fell into deep thought. Lu Dao had a lot to buy when he went out this time. The main thing is his cultivation techniques and resources in the bone forging realm, followed by others. However, Lu Dao not only buys the exercises he practices, but also collects them. The skills Lu Dao is practicing now are of too low a level. Heaven, Earth, Xuanwang level 4 techniques, all he has come into contact with now are Huang level techniques, and he has never even seen Zong level techniques. Lu Dao felt that since the items he made could be upgraded, then if he created a body training technique, he should also be able to upgrade it, right? In the future, if you continue to practice, you may be able to upgrade to the upper level of heaven, or even beyond it. As for creating exercises that are difficult, Lu Dao was not worried at all. He has a point-adding system that allows him to quickly master the proficiency of the technique and directly upgrade it to the state of perfection. When you have fully comprehended the exercises, you will naturally be very clear about the advantages and disadvantages of the exercises, and it is not difficult to extract the advantages of the exercises. Therefore, Lu Dao planned to combine all the advantages of these exercises into a brand new body training method when he mastered it. You can practice and improve in the 4 realms of skin refining, blood refining, bone refining and organ refining at the same time. More importantly, he does not need to create a perfect technique, he only needs to create a foundation. After upgrading, the system will be improved based on the technique. Just like other simple items he made at the beginning, they became better after upgrading. Therefore, when Lu Dao first heard He Zongming say that the first 4 realms can be regarded as one big realm, Lu Dao had such an idea. Welcome. The Kung Fu Pavilion is very big, with 3 floors, and there are many people choosing Kung Fu inside. The exercises on the first floor are the most common and the most numerous. They are mainly low-level and middle-level exercises of the Huang rank. The technique is the most common and of course the cheapest. Lu Dao didn't dislike these at all, and said directly to the boss, "Boss, count for me how many exercises are on the first floor, regardless of category, I bought them all." Since we want to create techniques, other categories are naturally indispensable. All sword skills, body skills, etc. must be created new. He wants to create a complete set of exercises that is unique to him. Since there is a system, how can we not make ourselves the strongest? As soon as these words came out, the entire first floor of the Kung Fu Pavilion suddenly became quiet, and then there was an uproar. Is this guy a fool? It must be some young master who is here to show off. That's right, I pretended to buy the exercises, but I was convinced, and these are low-grade and middle-grade Huang-level exercises. Everyone looked at Lu Dao as if he were a fool, thinking that he was here to cause trouble. Who would treat buying exercises as purchasing goods? With this kind of money, wouldn't it be nice to just buy Xuanji Kung Fu? My little friend, are you serious? The boss was a little hesitant. He had never experienced anything like this before. It was normal to buy dozens of copies at one time, but it was very rare to buy hundreds of copies. And buying thousands of copies at once has never happened. Especially these exercises are still low-grade and middle-grade rubbish exercises in the Huang class. Even if he wanted to establish a sect, he would not purchase goods without thinking like this. Lu Dao didn't care about other people's eyes, waved his hand and said, "Please hurry up, I don't want to waste too much time." The boss confirmed this time that Lu Dao was serious. He immediately got busy and summoned the waiter to count the types and quantities of exercises for Lu Dao. He didn't seem worried that Lu Dao wouldn't be able to pay. Are you really buying it? These several thousand copies are worth at least tens of thousands of taels of silver, right? What a waste of money. But why did he buy these rubbish techniques? Could it be gathering the strengths of many families to create a technique? Ha ha ha, are you kidding me? How can he create a technique with such a low level of cultivation? Someone immediately refuted it directly, not believing that a mere 17-year-old boy could create his own martial arts. He Zongming was also very puzzled by Lu Dao's behavior and why he suddenly bought so many exercises. However, listening to other people's discussions and thinking of Lu Dao's incredible understanding, he thought that Lu Dao might really want to create his own technique. You guys do the statistics first, and I'll go hang out on the second floor. Lu Dao said, ignoring the others, and went directly to the second floor, while He Zongming acted as a housekeeper. The boss also followed. The exercises on the second floor are mainly for the upper-level Huang level and the lower-level Zan level. Compared with the thousands of secret books on the first floor, there are far fewer on the second floor, only a few hundred books. Lu Dao glanced at the exercises to improve his cultivation and found that there were only less than 70 books. The others were all secret books on martial arts and other techniques. Among them, there is the cultivation method of bone forging realm. However, Lu Dao looked down on people of lower Zan rank. On the second floor, please give me some statistics on sword skills, body skills, archery skills, and blacksmithing skills. By the way, there are also statistics on breath-gathering skills. I bought them all. Lu Dao decided to buy some first to enhance his strength and then raid them next time. After Lu Dao finished speaking, he walked directly to the third floor. The person selecting the exercises on the second floor had already noticed what happened on the first floor, and he was also confused at this time. Seeing the boss waving his hand and asking the waiter to do the statistics, and even enthusiastically following him to the third floor, these people couldn't help but admire. It's really arrogant to be rich. There are even fewer exercises on the third floor, less than 100. Moreover, there are only 12 books on how to improve your cultivation. Among them, there are 8 books on the realm of bone forging, all of which are middle-grade Zon-level exercises, 4 books on the realm of refining internal organs, 2 of which are middle-grade Zon-level exercises, and 2 books of high-grade Zon-level exercises. Golden Blood Bone Forging Technique, Demonic Bone Technique, Pure Yang Golden Bone Technique. Lu Dao focused on the bone forging technique and read every book very carefully. Of course, what you can see is only a brief introduction to the exercises, and it is impossible to read the entire book. Hey, Demonic Elephant Bone Forging Technique. Suddenly, Lu Dao saw a book that looked familiar. The Demon Elephant Bone Forging Technique and the Demon Elephant Blood Tempering Technique should be the same set, right? Interesting. In the end, after reading the introduction, Lu Dao decided to choose the Demon Elephant Bone Forging method for training in the bone forging realm. Mid-grade Zon level is enough. The higher the grade, the faster the cultivation speed. Now that you have money, you will naturally buy better techniques to practice. Unlike before, he was either limited by the lack of money in his wallet or the lack of better exercises in the exercise shop, so he could only practice the yellow level exercises. Now I can finally practice better skills. Of course, this technique is indeed expensive. A full 100,000 taels of silver. More than what he spent on the first and second floors. Lu Dao selected several more techniques on the third floor, mainly sword techniques, body techniques, and breath-gathering techniques. At the same time, Lu Dao also bought a copy of the middle-grade Zon level exercises for the visceral refining realm. Time passed, and soon half an hour passed. The Kung Fu Pavilion counted the Kung Fu secret books purchased by Lu Dao. There were 7,967 books in total, totaling 290,000 taels of silver. There was also a small change that was directly wiped out by the boss. Sir, go slowly. Welcome to visit us next time. The boss sent Lu Dao out enthusiastically, with a smile on his face. Others looked shocked, almost numb. I thought Lu Dao just bought all the exercises on the first floor for tens of thousands of taels, but Lu Dao waved his hand and spent 300,000 taels. This was the first time they had seen this person who came to the Gongfa Pavilion to purchase goods. Who is this person? Do any of you know? I don't know, but he is already in the bone forging realm at a young age. Maybe he really bought so many techniques to create techniques. It's really hard to say. After leaving the Gongfa Pavilion, Lu Dao went to the place where elixirs were sold. After some understanding, Lu Dao found that elixirs were very expensive. The lower grade of the 9th level was 100 taels per pill, the middle grade was 200 taels, and the upper grade was 500 taels. With each level increase, the elixir was 10 times more expensive. Using elixirs to practice is definitely much better than potions, blood medicines, etc., and the refining will be faster and the efficacy will be stronger. In other words, the faster the cultivation level will be improved. This is the difference between having money and having no money when practicing. The rich, the faster the cultivation level will be improved, the faster the money will be made, and the poor can only linger in the low realm and cannot move. If there were elixirs for sale in Daifeng Town before, Lu Dao felt that his cultivation speed would be faster. As for now, of course, he would not treat himself badly. Directly buy the 8th level middle grade elixir Hunyuan Kyugudan, 500 taels per pill, and directly buy 20 pills, spending 10,000 taels. Originally, Lu Dao planned to buy the elixir formula and medicinal materials and make the elixir himself. Unfortunately, the elixir formula in the elixir pavilion is too expensive. The price of the 8th level pill recipe is hundreds of thousands, and the 7th level is even more than 1 million. Lu Dao can't afford it. At the same time, Lu Dao also bought some 9th level pills, mainly for the skin refining realm and blood refining realm, and also bought some detoxification pills. After that, Lu Dao went to the herbal medicine shop to buy some medicinal materials, not for his own pill refining, but for the big black dog. The prescription I got from the Three Wolf Gang before can improve the strength of the big black dog. Now that I have come to Mufeng City, I naturally want to improve the strength of the big black dog. On the way, Lu Dao asked about things that can make spiritual herbs grow and develop quickly, and learned that there is a kind of spiritual liquid that can do it, but it is relatively expensive. Only the auction house has it, and the starting price is 100,000 taels. Hearing this, Lu Dao immediately stopped thinking about going to the auction house. I have no money, 500,000 taels of silver, but after a trip, only a few 100,000 taels are left. Money is really hard to spend. Of course, it doesn't matter. For him now, the high-grade skills and good cultivation resources will not slow down his cultivation speed. Even if he can't improve his qualifications for the time being, it won't have much impact. Lu Dao handled his own affairs one by one. Soon Lu Dao and He Zongming came to a blacksmith shop, ready to ask the blacksmith shop to help make a piece of gold silk soft armor. Of course, only the part of making the iron ring was done by the blacksmith shop, and he did the last step of threading the ring himself. It is very troublesome to make iron rings. Not only are they small, but there are also many of them. If it is an ordinary blacksmith, it will take at least 3 months to make such a piece of gold silk soft armor. However, for blacksmiths with cultivation, it is not so troublesome. Especially for blacksmiths in the blood refining realm, they have the power of qi and blood, and the step of twisting the iron wire into a ring is very simple, and the same is true for threading the ring. Moreover, Lu Dao's gold silk soft armor only lacks the part on the chest, and the other parts are intact. They need to make even fewer iron rings. Ding ding ding. In the blacksmith shop, other blacksmiths were constantly hammering iron wires and making iron rings. In order to ensure that the gold wire soft armor could be upgraded, Lu Dao directly burned the gold wire soft armor red, then removed the iron rings in other parts one by one, and then messed them up and rethreaded them. This scene made everyone else stunned and extremely puzzled. But Lu Dao did not take the initiative to explain, and they did not ask more. The blacksmith shop had ready-made iron wires and many blacksmiths, so it did not take long. Under the guidance of other blacksmiths, Lu Dao only spent 1 hour to complete the simple production of gold wire soft armor. This gold wire soft armor can almost protect the whole body, from the knees to the neck. Golden silk soft armor. 0/10 ordinary golden silk soft armor can resist the attack of ordinary swords and knives, but it is easy to be broken and has very weak defense. Do not entrust your life and property to it for protection. Hey, the things made this time do not need to be upgraded from rough. The things made before, whether it is a knife, arrow, or chopsticks, are upgraded and improved from the worst quality. And most of the iron rings of the golden silk soft armor made this time are the previous ones, and the others are also made by the blacksmith shop, so the quality will not be too low. The golden silk soft armor can be upgraded, so Lu Dao naturally does not need to process it again, and directly pays the money and leaves. Leaving behind a group of people in the blacksmith shop, looking at each other. He Zongming was also confused, but he was tactful and did not ask more questions. Let's go back to Tianyan Inn. This time, I did everything I should do. Except that I didn't have money to auction the spiritual liquid at the auction house, everything else was completed, which can be said to be a great harvest. Hey, this guy looks so familiar, I seem to have seen him somewhere. When Lu Dao was buying sesame cakes at a sesame cake stand not far from Tianyan Inn, he suddenly heard a murmur beside him. Lu Dao subconsciously looked over and his eyes suddenly fixed. Kai Zan, it's you. Lu Dao didn't expect that it would be such a coincidence that he met the son of the enemy who killed his father. 3 years ago, their family of 3 lived happily in Daifeng town. Their father Lu Wenchong's blacksmithing skills were getting better and better, and he also bought a cultivation method. I thought the family of 3 would continue to be happy like this, but suddenly one day, my father had an accident when he went out and was beaten to death. The person who killed my father was another blacksmith in Daifeng town, Kai Jiong. Kai Jiong argued that the two had an argument and accidentally beat Lu Wenchong to death. But everyone with a discerning eye knew that it was because Kai Jiong felt the threat brought to him by Lu Wenchong. Lu Wenchong's blacksmithing skills improved too fast, which seriously threatened his business. Finally, Kai Jiong's family was driven out of Daifeng town by the mayor, ensuring that Lu Dao and his mother were not wiped out by Kai Jiong. Unfortunately, his mother was depressed because of his father's death and eventually passed away a year later. This also caused Lu Dao's temper to become more and more irritable. It's you, Lu Dao, why are you in Mufeng City? Kai Zan recognized Lu Dao instantly when he heard Lu Dao call out his name. I heard that you have been using axes for the Axe Gang, and they actually let you go. Kai Zan is 1.7 meters tall, 5 or 6 years older than Lu Dao, with dark skin and slightly curly hair. Lu Dao said lightly, the Axe Gang has been destroyed. I see, then you were lucky to get rid of the control of the Axe Gang. Kai Zan said that Lu Dao was lucky, but his words were full of yin and yang. Lu Dao smiled slightly, I destroyed it. Kai Zan paused when he heard this, and couldn't help but sneered, haha, how is it possible, just you? A mere skin refining early stage can destroy the Axe Gang. Wrong, he is not in the skin refining early stage, but in the bone forging early stage. In front of Kai Zan stood another young man, about 20 years old, and judging from his dress, he was obviously a rich kid, and Kai Zan seemed to be his follower. From the smell of alcohol and rouge wafting from the two people, Lu Dao guessed that the two people should have just visited a brothel. Impossible, how could he be in the early stage of bone forging? Kai Zan subconsciously refuted, but then he realized that his young master could not lie to him on this point. Suddenly, Kai Zan looked at Lu Dao with a stiff face, you are in the early stage of bone forging. How is it possible? Half a year ago, I heard that you were only in the early stage of skin refining. How could you suddenly become a bone forging realm? Oh, such a big improvement in half a year. Interesting. The young man next to Kai Zan immediately showed a strong curiosity and looked at Lu Dao and said, Brother Lu Dao, right. Let me introduce myself. I am Han Guanyu. Lu Dao glanced at Han Guanyu lightly, picked up the sesame cake he had bought and left, leaving only one sentence, tell your father a message, let him eat well during this period, and I will send him off in a few days. You wanna die? Kai Zan was furious. Lu Dao dared to threaten to kill his father. How could he bear it? Unfortunately, Lu Dao didn't pay much attention to him, turned around and left. Even when he was furious, he didn't even look back. Do not impulse. Han Guanyu grabbed Kai Zan. The two of them were lower in cultivation than Lu Dao, and they were looking for death if they rushed forward. Kai Zan also calmed down, his face looked ugly, and he was a little flustered in his heart. Lu Dao's cultivation has been improved to the realm of bone forging in a short period of time, which shows that the words Lu Dao said before leaving were definitely not just words. Master, there must be some secret about Lu Dao. Kai Zan is not stupid. With him and his father, he is no match for Lu Dao. He can only rely on the strength of the Han family. The Han family has masters of organ refining. Isn't it easy to reach the bone forging realm? Han Guanyu interrupted directly. Let's talk about this later. What Kai Zan could see, how could he not see it? It took half a year to advance from the early stage of skin refining to the early stage of bone forging. He also wanted to know what secrets Lu Dao had. If he can get this secret, not only can he quickly break through the late stage of blood refining that has troubled him for 2 years, but he will also be able to break through the innate realm in the future. Han Guanyu stared at Lu Dao's back as he stepped into Tianyanin, and quickly rushed back to Han's house with Kai Zan to discuss Lu Dao's matter. I didn't expect that people who hadn't seen the Red Flower Valley would encounter the enemy who killed their father first. When Lu Dao came to Mufeng City, he naturally had the intention to avenge his parents. He planned to inquire about it after a while, but he unexpectedly met Kai Zan. It seems that Kai Jeong's family is affiliated with a big family, but I don't know how strong the Han family is. He Zongming reminded. I think Han Guanyu seems to be very interested in you. The Han family may plot against you, so you need to be careful. Well, let's first ask shopkeeper Feng about the Han family. Back at the inn, Lu Dao went directly to shopkeeper Feng. Then I learned that the Han family is not very strong, with only a few Zhang refining realms and a dozen bone forging realms. It is a small family that does whatever it takes to achieve its goals. At the same time, Lu Dao also learned that if you kill someone in Mufeng City, as long as you can afford the fine, you can take revenge. Lu Dao had not taken action in the street before because he was worried. Plot against me. Hey, give them a surprise next time we meet. As long as he is not in the innate realm, Lu Dao is not worried. Once he reaches the realm of viscera refining, creates his own techniques, and is equipped with equipment, he will be able to kill him with a knife even in the late stage of viscera refining. If the Han family dared to scheme against him, he wouldn't mind giving the Han family a little pain. Came back. The two returned to the courtyard, where only Wu Tianyu and his wife were messing with chopsticks, while the others were practicing in their rooms. Wu Tianyu quickly asked, "How is it? Are Honghua Valley looking for you?" Lu Dao shook his head. "No, I haven't seen any shadows. Either they haven't discovered it yet, or they don't pay much attention to it." Thinking about it carefully, he was just a disciple in the blood refining realm, and he was really not worthy of Honghua Valley's high-profile search for Lu Dao's whereabouts. But Lu Dao didn't think he was being too cautious. After all, there was nothing wrong with being cautious. He only has one life, and there is no room for negligence. It's okay if you don't have it, you can practice with peace of mind. Wu Tianyu and his wife wanted to live a stable life. They hoped that Lu Dao could advance to the Zhang refining realm or even the innate realm as soon as possible, so that they could resolve their grievances with Honghua Valley. Then he left Tianyan Inn and settled down in Mufeng City. "Uncle Wu, don't worry, I will take care of all this." Lu Dao comforted Wu Tianyu and his wife, and then poured out all the exercises in the system space. The buzzing continues. Almost in the blink of an eye, there was a mountain of books in the yard. Lu Dao said, "Old man, please help me classify and organize these exercises. This is what you are best at. It shouldn't be troublesome, right?" "It's not troublesome, but you have to learn all these thousands of exercises. How much time and energy will it take?" On the way, He Zongming asked Lu Dao and learned that Lu Dao wanted to create his own martial arts. He did not dissuade him. At this time, he couldn't help but persuade. You should focus on improving your cultivation first, and think about it later. Create your own technique. Lu Dao said, "Don't worry, I will definitely give priority to improving my cultivation now." "That's good, I'm afraid you can't distinguish the priorities." He Zongming felt relieved. "Brother Dao, you are back." At this time, other people also finished refining the ferocious beast meat and ferocious beast soup for lunch, and walked out of the room one after another. Everyone just happened to come out. "This time, I need to make more chopsticks. Everyone can lend a hand and help." Everyone responded with a bang. Next, everyone has a clear division of labor. The sorting skills of organizing skills, the skills of chopping bamboo, the skills of making chopsticks. A group of people were very busy. Soon, the sun sets. Everyone worked until late at night, and after a few hours, Lu Dao made 10,000 pairs of chopsticks. He believes that when the level of these chopsticks increases, the fortune points obtained will be enough for him to learn these thousands of skills. He is currently in the early stage of the bone forging realm, so the chopsticks can be upgraded to the 7th level low grade, from rough, ordinary, fine, to the 9th level low grade, and then all the way to the 7th level low grade. Through the upgrade, a total of 9 fortune points are added. Each pair of chopsticks can increase 45 points, plus the 1 fortune point for making chopsticks, then overall, a pair of chopsticks is 46 fortune points. 10,000 pairs is 460,000 fortune points. Hiss, 460,000 fortune points, it's simply terrifying. After a simple calculation, Lu Dao couldn't help but be shocked, but after turning his head and looking at the mountain of books, Lu Dao's expression quickly returned to calm. Of course, to upgrade chopsticks to the 7th level lower grade, you need to brush enough experience 100 million. If you do it a little at a time, I'm afraid you will be exhausted. Therefore, Lu Dao directly bought a bone at Tianyan Inn, a leg bone of a beast in the refining state. Then he used a knife to grind some leg bone powder and sprinkled it into the wooden basin. In this way, each brush is 10,000 experience points, which greatly reduces the time to brush experience. 10,000 pairs of chopsticks seemed like a lot, and each pair had to be brushed 10,000 times. In fact, they only needed to tie a large bundle of chopsticks together, swing them in the wooden basin with a rope, and they could brush experience by shaking them left and right. Hundreds of pairs of chopsticks could be used at a time. Especially He Zongming's family, with their cultivation, brushed experience faster, and their hands were not so tired, and they could even carry a bundle of chopsticks in each hand. The efficiency was totally incomparable to Wu Tianyu and his 3 friends. But their small group was very united, and there were no gaps or conflicts between them. Even when Wu Tianyu and his wife were tired, He Zongming would let them rest well and not worry. The small group was happy, which made Lu Dao feel relieved. After finishing the chopsticks, everyone had a midnight snack in the inn, and then returned to the yard to rest. During this period, Lu Dao also took out the pills and snacks he bought and distributed them to everyone, so that everyone would not save when practicing and improve their strength as soon as possible. At the same time, the prescription for improving the strength of the big black dog was given to Zongming, and he was asked to raise the big black dog. The big black dog was very smart, and Lu Dao also regarded it as a family member. Speaking of which, the big black dog was the one who accompanied Lu Dao the longest, and Lu Dao hoped that it could become stronger as soon as possible. After finishing these things, Lu Dao announced that he would retreat again. He wanted to impact the realm of refining internal organs. Chapter 31. Name: Lu Dao. Cultivation. Early stage of bone forging realm. Kung Fu. Demonic Elephant Bone Forging Technique 0/10th Entry Level. Demonic Elephant Blood Tempering Technique Perfection. Sui Feng Step Perfection. Fuhu Sword Technique Perfection. Keishan Fist Perfection. Minyu Body Refining Gong Perfect. Yunyu Shenfa Perfect. Star Chasing Arrow Technique Perfect. Cloak Sword Technique Perfect. Thunder Fist Perfect. Qingyun Body Tempering Technique Perfect. Skills: Horse Riding Hanzi Perfect. Lu's Hammer Technique Perfect. The point of creation. After a night's rest, Lu Dao was full of energy and began to attack the state of Zhang refining. After upgrading more than 100 pairs of chopsticks made in Daifeng Town to the 8th level low grade, and the 1,000 pairs of chopsticks made 2 days ago to the 9th grade mid grade, plus the 10,000 pairs of chopsticks made today, there are also production the creation points gained from songs, golden silk armor, etc. are added together. Lu Dao's current creation point is approaching 25,000 points. Hey! The starting point of the Xuanji technique has changed, and it has been increased tenfold. Lu Dao discovered that the starting point for all previous Huang level exercises was 1 point, but now for learning the Zan level exercises, the starting point has increased tenfold, and 10 points are needed to get started. This made Lu Dao frown. He was even worried about whether less than 500,000 points of creation would be enough for him to learn so many techniques. System: add more points. Lu Dao adjusted his mentality, and without thinking any more, he began to add points to the Demon Elephant Bone Forging Technique. Creation point -10, Demon Elephant Bone Forging Method Entry Level. Creation point -50, Small Success. Creation point -100, Proficient. Creation point -150, Great Achievement. Creation point -250, Demon Elephant Bone Forging Method Perfect. The point of creation. Lu Dao couldn't help but feel a little heartbroken. It actually cost 560 points of creation to refill a book of middle-level Zan level exercises. The cost of one book is equivalent to 10 books of middle-level Huang level skills. This is too expensive. Lu Dao rubbed his swollen temples, suppressed the discomfort in his mind, and accepted all kinds of knowledge about the Demon Elephant Bone Forging Technique. After a while, Lu Dao accepted it and completely mastered the Demon Elephant Bone Forging Method. Hunyuan Bone Tempering Pill, let me see how powerful you are. Lu Dao took out a milky white pill and swallowed it in one gulp. A grunt. The elixir enters the body and immediately goes down the throat. When the elixir fell into the abdomen, it gradually dissolved. The power of the elixir began to flow to the limbs and bones along with the light golden blood in the body along with the operation of the Demon Elephant Bone Forging Technique. The medicinal power merged with the pale golden blood, adhered to the bones, and began to sink into the bones, changing the quality of the bones. This process was a bit numb, and Lu Dao felt as if countless tiny needles were constantly pricking his bones, but the force was very gentle, so that he could not feel any pain. This kind of acupuncture is not only on the outside of the bone, but also on the inside. The entire bone is being forged and tempered by the power of the medicine. The sun rises and the moon sets, and in the blink of an eye, a day passes. Crackle. With a crackling sound coming from his body, Lu Dao successfully refined 3 Hunyuan bone tempering pills, and his cultivation level was successfully promoted to the middle stage of bone forging. It's so cool. After being tempered, traces of golden light were attached to the bones in Lu Dao's body, and the hardness of the bones was increased by more than 10 times. Moreover, after the bones are forged, strength appears on the bones, which is bone strength. The power of bone strength is the same kind of power as the power of qi and blood, but it is sharper, more lethal, and tougher than the power of qi and blood. Try this bone strength. Lu Dao stood up, took out his long knife, and directly used the ups and downs tiger knife technique. Buzz. For a moment, Lu Dao felt a powerful force flowing from the blade, but it was not released. Once released, the entire courtyard would probably be chopped into pieces by his sword. This is several times more powerful than the sword technique used before using the power of qi and blood. Then, Lu Dao used the power of bone strength to perform body techniques. Lu Dao instantly transformed into a shadow and jumped around the room. Both his speed and flexibility were greatly improved. This made Lu Dao very satisfied. Lu Dao stopped trying and walked out of the room, ready to relax. Escaped. You won't break through again, right? He Zongming, who was messing with his chopsticks, couldn't help but ask. Now that Lu Dao has been promoted to the realm of bone forging, his energy and blood are no longer transforming, and he can no longer see Lu Dao's specific cultivation level with the naked eye. Others also looked at Lu Dao curiously. Lu Dao chuckled and nodded in acknowledgement. This immediately caused a group of people to keep wailing. After a long time, He Zongming said with a solemn expression, "Your cultivation level has improved so quickly, it will definitely attract the attention of interested people, even if it is." As he said that, He Zongming pointed to the top of his head and continued, "So you need to learn a powerful breath-gathering technique and hide your cultivation at all times." That's the plan. Lu Dao knew that He Zongming was talking about Tianyanin, which was a black shop after all. Of course, Lu Dao would not completely trust it. He had only learned an ordinary breath-condensing technique before, which could only collect breath and blood. Now that he had bought the technique, he was ready to combine all the breath-condensing techniques to create his own breath-condensing technique. He Zongming chuckled and handed Lu Dao a book of exercises directly. "Here, this is a middle-grade Zon-level book, which is more suitable for you." Lu Dao took over the technique, and then took away all the other breath-gathering techniques that He Zongming had already sorted out. He Zongming was stunned for a moment, and then he guessed what Lu Dao wanted to do. "Are you planning to create your own breath-gathering technique?" "Yes, there aren't many breathing techniques anyway, so." Lu Dao glanced at the pile of books in the system space and said, "There are only more than 60 books, so it won't take much time." He Zongming hurriedly grabbed Lu Dao and said, "Lu Dao, let me give you a suggestion that will save you a lot of time when learning these exercises." "What advice?" Lu Dao was overjoyed when he heard this. He was worried that learning the exercises would take time. After all, there are thousands of exercises. Even if you just read one, it would take at least half an hour to a quarter of an hour, and even more complex ones would take more than half an hour. After downloading thousands of copies, he couldn't imagine how much time it would take. This is a bunch of exercises for practicing eye skills, with various effects, but without exception, they can all enhance the ability of the eyes to see. He Zongming pulled Lu Dao to a relatively small pile of books and said, "When you learn the exercises, there is at least a viewing process. As long as you learn these eye skills, if nothing else, when you read the books, you will extract the speed of written text will increase many times. Of course, there is a premise that your brain's reaction speed must be able to keep up with the speed of your eyes, and this will also consume a lot of energy." Quote. He Zongming finally asked, "How is it? Is it okay?" "No problem at all." Lu Dao laughed. After adding points in his skills and receiving enlightenment from the system again and again, Lu Dao's mental strength also increased invisibly. He believed that he could do it. "Old man, you really did me a big favor. It has to be said that having an elder in a family is like having a treasure." Limited by his understanding of the types of exercises, Lu Dao had not thought about this at all before. The suggestions put forward by the old man now will undoubtedly save him a lot of time. With the old man's advice, Lu Dao put away his pupil skills and couldn't wait to return to the room. This made a group of people laugh dumbly, but at the same time they couldn't help but feel a sense of urgency. With Lu Dao cultivating so much and working so hard, the gap between them and Lu Dao will only get bigger and bigger in the future, until one day, Lu Dao may leave them. Hypnosis, eagle eye, clairvoyance, spell-breaking eyes, clairvoyance. There are many pupil techniques, including those that can hypnotize, improve eyesight, allow normal vision at night, clairvoyance, predict attacks, etc. There are a lot of them. There are more than 40 books. Lu Dao read one book after another, then added points and received the enlightenment from the system. Then, Lu Dao began to extract the advantages of these eye skills in his mind, and then tried to fuse them to form a technique that could be practiced. Of course, Lu Dao did not create the technique into written form, but only evolved it in his mind. What kind of operation method can be used to temper his eyes to achieve a certain effect? Combine the movement paths of these pupil techniques and fuse them. When Lu Dao had just combined the advantages of the two pupil techniques in his mind, a new introduction to the technique appeared on another panel of the system. Pupil technique unnamed 0/1 simple pupil technique, which seems to combine the advantages of clairvoyance and clairvoyance, is actually useless. If you practice based on this, your eyes will be blind for half a day. Don't try it. It sure works. Lu Dao was overjoyed. He didn't care about the written introduction of the pupil technique. After all, it was just evolving in his mind and there was no real practice. Lu Dao continued to incorporate the advantages of other pupil techniques into his own pupil technique. The words on the pupil technique are also constantly changing. In this way, after 3 hours of blending and evolution, Lu Dao finally completely combined the 43 pupil techniques and created a new pupil technique. Pupil technique unnamed 0/1, a very complex and rough pupil technique. The method has many theoretical advantages and great potential, but it cannot be realized according to the current movement route. It is the first time to practice a complete week. It will cause bloodshot eyes and serious damage to vision. Continuous practice for 3 weeks will cause the eyes to burst. It is recommended not to practice. Name: Sky Eye, give me some points. All pupil skills have been integrated. Lu Dao can't wait to name it, add points, want to start practicing, and improve the level of pupil skills. Fortune point -1, Sky Eye entry level. Sky Eye is just a theoretical pupil skill, and it is more of a fusion of basics and advantages. Therefore, the grade of Sky Eye is not high, or even very low. With just a little fortune point, you can practice it directly. In view of the text introduction of Sky Eye, Lu Dao did not dare to run the skill for 1 week directly, and only dared to try it out. As long as you can brush experience. After all, no matter what he created, he did not need to use its functions completely to gain experience, just like singing before, when he created it, he only needed to hum, horse tying, to quickly gain experience. The same is true for Sky Eye. Lu Dao already had the Sky Eyes exercise route in his mind, and he started practicing it immediately. But the skill only ran a little bit, and when Lu Dao felt uncomfortable, he stopped decisively and looked at the system panel. Heavenly Eye. 1000/1 upgradable, a very complex and crude pupil technique. The theory of the technique has many advantages and great potential, but it cannot be realized according to the current route of exercise. The first complete cycle of practice will cause bloodshot eyes and serious damage to vision. Continuous practice for 3 cycles will cause both eyes to burst. It is recommended not to try to practice. It really increased by 1000 at once. This experience did not surprise Lu Dao. When he sang before, his cultivation was at the blood refining realm, and he gained 100 experience points after singing. Now he is at the bone forging realm, and it is normal to gain 1000 experience points after practicing. Upgrade. As Lu Dao's mind moved, the level of the Heavenly Eye instantly completed 3 consecutive jumps and entered the next level directly. Heavenly Eye. 899 10,000ths low-grade yellow, integrated with multiple pupil techniques, but the grade is too low, and the various abilities are not outstanding. After practicing to perfection, you can get the following abilities. 1. Perspective. You can see through a piece of clothing or a piece of paper, and the distance is limited to 1 meter. 2. Vision. Greatly improve vision. Any small object within 500 meters can be seen at a glance. 3. Hypnosis. You can hypnotize small animals, such as mice, sparrows, etc. 4. Night vision. Even at night, within 50 meters, you can see things as if it were daytime. 5. Shock. When the Heavenly Eye is running, looking directly into the eyes of others can make them feel the mental pressure and shock their minds. It should be noted that when the Heavenly Eye is running and certain special abilities are used, the eyes will change, such as glowing, changing color, convex, concave, etc. The situation will be restored after use, so there is no need to worry. Lu Dao took a look at it and saw dozens of abilities, which made Lu Dao particularly excited and his heart pounding. This is only the lower grade of the yellow rank. It is far from being upgraded to the limit. However, what surprised Lu Dao was that after the Sky Eye was upgraded to the lower grade of the yellow rank, the experience required was different from other items to enter the rank, such as knives, arrows, chopsticks, etc. After entering the rank, they are lower grade 9, and 1000 experience points are required to advance again. However, the Sky Eye technique is lower grade yellow after entering the rank, and if you want to upgrade to the middle grade of the yellow rank, you need 10,000 experience points, which is a full 10 times the experience of the item. This gave Lu Dao a bad feeling in his heart. Lu Dao frowned and muttered, "System, add points." The next moment, Lu Dao found that the system shows that the Sky Eye that has been upgraded is directly covered by the Sky Eye after the upgrade, and then it becomes a situation where no entry is made. Then, the system adds points to Lu Dao, and then the new Sky Eye is entered again. Don't I need to add points every time I upgrade? Lu Dao felt a little pit, and decided to study it carefully. After thinking about it, Lu Dao said directly, "System, fill it up for me." The system said, "Reduce the luck points for me." Sky Eye, perfect. Lu Dao continued to practice, and also practiced shallowly every time, and began to gain experience. It didn't take long for the experience to be enough. Upgrade again. Sky Eye, 899 over 1 million, yellow grade, middle grade, integrated with multiple pupil techniques, low grade. Although the various abilities are not outstanding, it wins in many abilities, great potential, practice to perfection. You can get the following abilities. 6. Breaking the law. You can look down on the slight flaws of the lower grade yellow level skills, limited to the skin refining level. 7. Eye killing. You can attack through your eyes, shoot out a real eye light, and attack and kill the enemy unexpectedly, but the damage is not great. 8. Illusion. After performing, you can control some small animals. 9. Cache. After performing the pupil technique, everything you see will be imprinted in your mind for 10 breaths, and disappear after 10 breaths. It should be noted that when running the Sky Eye and using certain special abilities, the eyes will change, such as glowing, changing color, convex, concave, etc., which will recover after use, so there is no need to worry. The types of abilities are the same, and the introduction is similar, but all abilities have been partially improved. These ability improvements surprised Lu Dao, but the skyrocketing experience value made Lu Dao want to wail. He can see that after the level of the skill is improved, the experience value will increase 100 times for every small grade. This directly shattered his idea of quickly upgrading the grade of his heavenly eye to the middle or upper grade of the profound grade. Forget it. At least with this caching ability, it can save more time to read the exercises. As long as it is cached in the brain, the system can extract it, and the exercises can be displayed on the system panel. This is enough. Then, Lu Dao looked at the proficiency of Tianyan. Celestial Eye, 0/10th Mastery. The proficiency of Tianyan dropped directly from perfection to Shaocheng, a drop of 3 levels. After all, the upgraded Sky Eye is already at the middle grade yellow level, and it only dropped 3 levels. It's already pretty good, as long as it's not a matter of adding points all over again. Lu Dao was not disappointed and continued to practice. It takes about 2 seconds to get 1000 experience points at a time. 2/4 of an hour later, Lu Dao once again gained full experience and directly upgraded his Sky Eye. Celestial Eye, 899 100th million, high grade yellow grade, integrating a variety of pupil techniques. The grade is not bad, various abilities are already considered good, practice to the state of perfection. You can obtain the following abilities. 10. Teaching. As long as your mental power is strong enough, you can directly teach other people the skills through pupil technique, which is similar to the enlightenment. However, it should be noted that the person receiving the teaching cannot resist, otherwise it will lead to the failure of the teaching. If a person's spirit is damaged, the skills taught must also depend on the mental strength of the person being taught, otherwise it will cause mental harm to the person being taught. 11. Mark. You can use the pupil technique to leave a spiritual mark on other creatures or objects. As a mark, you can sense the existence of the spiritual mark within a radius of 10 miles. 12. Prediction. You can predict the attacks of others or the location of body movements, but only for low-level monks. It should be noted that when running the Sky Eye and using certain special abilities, the eyes will change, such as glowing, changing color, convex, concave, etc., and they will recover after use, so there is no need to worry. Finally, we can teach the law. Lu Dao was very surprised. He had been interested in this ability before. Unfortunately, the level of Sky Eye was too low before and he could not use this skill at all, but now he can. This also means that if he wants to cultivate someone, he can directly teach him the technique and improve his understanding of the technique, which is to increase his proficiency in the technique. Similar to an enlightenment, this can save a lot of time to understand the technique. Moreover, even those with low levels of understanding can still practice advanced techniques after improving their proficiency. As long as Lu Dao understands it by himself, they do not need to understand it themselves. More importantly, because he created the technique himself, it takes a lot of experience to upgrade. With this ability to transfer skills, he can pass on the skills he created to others, so that others can practice and improve their experience. In this way, he can save a lot of time, which is equivalent to win-win cooperation and mutual benefit. However, he does not intend to pass on the Heavenly Eye technique to anyone for the time being. It has too many functions and its ability is too unbelievable. This was just a top-grade Heavenly Eye at the Huang level. Once it was promoted further, it was hard for him to imagine what the Heavenly Eye would transform into. More importantly, the Heavenly Eye is too complicated. Even though it is only a middle-grade yellow level, its complexity is not even comparable to the demon elephant bone forging technique he practiced. It would take too much mental energy to teach others how to practice the Heavenly Eye. He was even worried that his mental strength would not be able to bear it. Want to try? Lu Dao felt a little itchy when he thought about the function of teaching. In their small group, there are still 3 people who have no cultivation level. Especially Wu Tianyu and his wife. Although they have been doing their best to help gain experience during this period, they always feel that they have not yet fully integrated. If they can practice or even improve their cultivation quickly, there is no doubt that they will gain experience faster, which will also be of great help to Lu Dao. Then first cultivate your Heavenly Eye to perfection. Lu Dao stopped thinking about it and started practicing the Heavenly Eye technique. Human eyes are very fragile, even in the martial arts world. Therefore, even if they are practicing pupil skills, most people will be very careful in tempering them, fearing that they will cause problems with their eyes if they are not careful. But Lu Dao does not have these worries. He is fully confident in the Sky Eye technique produced by the system. Everything he has now is brought to him by the system. How can he not trust the system? Lu Dao's Sky Eye proficiency has been improved to perfection, and he can practice it very quickly. The upper grade yellow level skills are generally practiced in the skin and blood refining realms. Now that Lu Dao is in the middle stage of bone forging, he already has bone strength, and tempering his eyes will be faster. As the skills are running, the blood and qi and bone strength in Lu Dao's body are all integrated into the skills path, and flow into the eyes along the blood vessels, meridians, and bones to temper the eyes. In the process of tempering his eyes, Lu Dao can clearly feel the changes in his eyes. When practicing, Lu Dao closed his eyes. But after tempering his eyes, he gradually found that although he had his eyes closed, his eyes gradually became brighter and everything in the room became clearer. It was as if his eyelids had become a decoration. This was the perspective function of the eyes and the changes brought about by the improvement of vision. It must be said that after the grade of the Sky Eye technique was upgraded, the ability was greatly improved. At the lower yellow grade, the perspective could only see through a piece of paper or a piece of clothing, but at the upper yellow grade, not only could he easily see through his eyelids, but he could also see through the wall, and the range was expanded to 100 meters. Lu Dao did not use the Sky Eye technique again and continued to temper. Buzz. 2 hours passed in a blink of an eye, and Lu Dao's eyes trembled slightly, subconsciously performing the Sky Eye technique and opening his eyes. In an instant, everything in the room was clearly visible. Even the tiny dust could be seen clearly. Even the walls of the room became transparent and could not block his sight. Then the next moment, Lu Dao saw He Yuanshuang. There was a bottle of potion on the bedside of the little girl. She was about to take off her clothes and seemed to be preparing to practice. And she didn't notice that Lu Dao was looking at her. Don't look at it if it's indecent. Amitabha. Lu Dao was shocked and instantly retracted the Sky Eye technique. However, this girl doesn't use elixirs to practice. Didn't I buy elixirs for her? Why is she so frugal? Lu Dao was a little helpless. He had bought a lot of 9th level elixirs before, which were suitable for practicing in the skin and blood refining realms, but he Yuanshuang, the little girl, obviously didn't want to waste them and was still practicing with potions. She's a good girl who manages the family. Lu Dao muttered, then took a deep breath and walked out of the room. Huh, why did you come out so soon? He Zongming looked at Lu Dao puzzledly. Lu Dao had just been in for a short time, just over 4 hours. It's impossible for him to succeed in creating his own skills in such a short time, right? Lu Dao chuckled and said, try something. He Zongming's expression moved, and he thought of something. He asked in disbelief, are you trying pupil technique? Hee, I'm lucky, it worked. He Zongming stared at Lu Dao in astonishment, speechless for a long time. He had long hinted to himself that he could accept any feat Lu Dao did. However, what Lu Dao did during this period of time broke his cognition one after another, and it was impossible for him to accept it calmly. Is Xiaoming practicing? Wu Ming, He Yuanshuang, and He Yuanshuang's parents were not in the yard, and they were obviously practicing in the room. Now that Lu Dao wanted to try to pass on the law, the first person he chose was Wu Ming. Wu Tianyu hurriedly said, I'll go call him out. He didn't know what Lu Dao was going to do, but it was obviously good for Wu Ming. Brother Dao, why are you calling me? Lu Dao smiled, sat on a stool, pulled Xiaoming to stand in front of him, and warned, Xiaoming, remember, don't move, don't resist, accept everything I pass on to you. Lu Dao, is there no danger? Wu Tianyu was a little worried and said, why don't you let me do it, he is still young. He originally thought it would be good for Wu Ming, but now seeing Lu Dao's serious face warning Wu Ming, as if there was some danger, he was a little worried about Wu Ming's safety. Don't worry, Uncle Wu, it's okay. Lu Dao comforted him, and then patted Wu Ming's head, relax, just look into my eyes, don't blink. Okay, Brother Dao. The two looked at each other. The next moment, a very faint gray light appeared from Lu Dao's eyes, and then disappeared into Wu Ming's eyes in an instant. Wu Ming felt something strange in his eyes and subconsciously wanted to blink, but remembering Brother Dao's advice, he not only did not blink, but tried to open his eyes a little wider. Then, Wu Ming found that there was something more in his mind. That was the barbarian bull body refining technique. Wu Ming was shocked to find that his understanding of the barbarian bull body refining technique increased rapidly. He almost got into it in the blink of an eye, and then rushed all the way to minor success and mastery. Buzz. After a few breaths, when the barbarian bull body refining technique was only one step away from major success, the connection was suddenly disconnected, and Wu Ming's feeling of enlightenment disappeared in an instant. This made Wu Ming feel a sense of loss. Just when he felt a little regretful, he found that Brother Dao looked a little sluggish, and immediately supported Brother Dao and asked with concern, Brother Dao, what's wrong with you? It's okay, it's just that the mental energy consumption is a bit large. Lu Dao took a breath and signaled that he was okay. He found that Huang Jia's high-grade heavenly eye technique was still a bit reluctant to transfer the power. Of course, it is also because he is teaching the middle-level Huang level skills. If it is a low-level Huang level skill, there should be no problem and it can be directly transferred to the realm of perfection. Lu Dao, are you teaching Kung Fu? He Zongming on the side had long been stunned. He owns a Kung Fu method shop and has read many Kung Fu methods and books. Naturally, he has heard about the teaching of the method, but he has never seen it. I didn't expect that such legendary things would happen right in front of my eyes. He Yuanshuang and others also came out, staring at Lu Dao with strange eyes. Yes, I taught Xiaoming a barbarian body training technique, but it seems that I am still a little struggling, and my eye skills still need some improvement. Lu Dao felt a little regretful. If the heavenly eye technique reaches the lower level of Zan level, he believes that there is no problem in teaching the middle level of Huang level. Or he could have done it even if his mental strength were stronger. Hey, your self-created pupil technique can actually achieve this step, it's incredible. He Zongming took a breath and looked at Lu Dao as if he were a monster. Then he thought of something and hurriedly asked Wu Ming, Xiaoming, to what extent have you mastered the Man Niu physical training technique now? It's almost a success. When He Zongming heard this, he was so shocked that he kept shouting, it's so crazy, it's really so crazy. That was a middle-level Huang-level skill. It took less than 10 breaths to teach it to the point where it was almost complete. It was simply unbelievable. He Zongming suddenly looked at Lu Dao with some fanaticism. Lu Dao, can your teaching be passed on to everyone? Good. After receiving the definite answer, everyone else looked at Lu Dao feverishly, their eyes full of desire and expectation. But none of them said the request. After all, Lu Dao was in a bad state now. Seeing this, Lu Dao smiled and said, don't worry, everyone, when my eye skills improve further and my mental power improves, everyone will have a share. Good. Everyone couldn't help but get excited. Their understanding is not high, and it takes a long time to understand the techniques. As for He Zongming, he has practiced Qingyan body tempering technique, a skin refining technique, for decades, but he has only understood it to the level of great success, far from reaching perfection. Now Lu Dao can teach the Dharma, directly saving them decades of time. Lu Dao, please go and rest first. Just leave the chopsticks to us. In fact, He Zongming vaguely guessed that making chopsticks is not that simple for Lu Dao. The chopsticks may have other uses for Lu Dao. Everything Lu Dao did to them was to get them to help make chopsticks. But he didn't ask Lu Dao, he just asked Lu Dao to hand over the chopsticks to them with confidence. Originally, everyone did not have any extravagant hopes for the path of martial arts, but now with Lu Dao's teachings, everyone has seen hope, not only in the realm of blood refining, but also in bone and organ refining, and even innate realms that are far away. It was as if they could all touch. Lu Dao brought them the dawn of martial arts. This time, everyone is very motivated for martial arts. Back to the room. Lu Dao rested for an hour to recover his spirit. Then Lu Dao used the sky eye to read the breathing technique. There are more than 60 books on breathing technique, which is a lot, but under the sky eye technique, Lu Dao can read 10 lines at a glance. Originally, Lu Dao planned to skim through it, but under the powerful sky eye technique, he could see every stroke of every word clearly. With a glance, he read all the words on the whole page without missing a single one. In just a quarter of an hour, Lu Dao finished reading all the breathing techniques. This speed and efficiency are completely incomparable to the previous ones. And, after reading a book of techniques, Lu Dao directly asked the system to add points to another one. After reading the last book of techniques, as Lu Dao finished adding points, Lu Dao completely mastered all the breathing techniques. In the following time, Lu Dao repeated the process of creating the sky eye technique in his mind, extracting the advantages of the technique and integrating them. Breath containment technique unnamed 0/1. A poor breath containment technique seems to be able to hide the skin, blood, bone strength, and even the 5 elements of the internal organs, but in fact, practicing this technique for only half a cycle will cause a disordered breath of the whole body, and the breath of various techniques practiced will be completely exposed, and even cause obsession. It is recommended not to try. Oh my God! Not only can it not conceal the breath, but it will expose the breath. How can this technique be reversed? Lu Dao was speechless, directly named the breath containment technique, and added points at the same time. Just trying to practice it for a while, it directly soared 1000 experience points, and the breath containment technique also jumped 3 times, all the way to the entry level. Breath concealing technique. 899 10,000ths, yellow grade lower grade. It seems that it can hide the body refining breath below the innate realm, but it is only in theory. In fact, this breath containment technique can only hide the breath of the skin and flesh when it is cultivated to the perfect realm, and the blood and bone strength cannot be hidden at all. In that case, let's upgrade it to the yellow grade upper grade to see how it works. Lu Dao did not stop, and added points again, and then continued to brush experience for 2/4 of an hour, and then let it upgrade. Breath concealing technique. 899 100ths million, yellow grade upper grade. A good breath containment technique. When cultivated to the perfect realm, it can hide the breath of the skin and flesh, the blood and bone strength. Even if it is a congenital strongman, he cannot see through your true cultivation without using his spiritual consciousness to explore your body, but it cannot hide the 5 elements of the internal organs. It seems that after the cultivation breaks through the internal refining realm, the breath containment technique needs to be brushed to the Zon grade lower grade. Lu Dao was a little disappointed. To upgrade the breath containment technique to the lower level of the Zon rank, 100 million experience points are required. At his speed of gaining 1 million experience points in 2/4 of an hour, it would take 2 days of non-stop work to fully upgrade it. Lu Dao would naturally not waste time like this. The current breath containment technique is enough for the time being. When he is promoted to the refining organs realm, the speed of gaining experience points will increase tenfold, so it will only take 2.5 hours to fully upgrade it. Lu Dao put his mood in order, fully upgraded the breath containment technique, and then began to practice the breath containment technique. It was like a natural process. In just one cycle, Lu Dao hid all his auras, and looked like an ordinary person without any cultivation. Lu Dao smiled with satisfaction. Compared with other techniques that require tempering a certain part of the body, the breath containment technique, swordsmanship, body skills, etc., can be directly controlled and performed after fully upgrading, which is very convenient and fast. Unlike the Sky Eye technique, or techniques to improve cultivation. Even if you master these skills to perfection, you still need to use them to temper your eyes and body before you can use the Heavenly Eye technique or improve your cultivation. Relatively speaking, these skills are more time-consuming. Practice, and strive to advance to the refining organs realm as soon as possible. Next, Lu Dao immersed himself in practice again, constantly taking Hunyuan bone tempering pills to temper the bones in his body. Time is the most difficult thing to control in the world, and it slips away from your fingertips if you are not careful. In a blink of an eye, 5 days passed. In the room, Lu Dao has woken up from his practice and is now feeling the power of the refining organs realm. After 5 days of practice, almost all the Hunyuan bone tempering pills were used up, and Lu Dao successfully broke through to the refining organs realm. During this period, the bones also transformed one after another, and the hardness was comparable to that of the 7th level objects, and the bone strength was also very solid, which greatly improved Lu Dao's strength. Now that I have the cultivation of the refining organs realm, I will gain experience faster. Lu Dao did not come out of retreat, and directly started to gain experience in the Heavenly Eye technique and the breath retention technique. Decided to upgrade these two skills to the level of the lower grade of the Zon level. After breaking through the realm, Lu Dao used the refining organs realm to gain experience, 10,000 at a time, which was 10 times faster. Originally, it took 2 days to gain 100 million experience, but now it only takes 2.5 hours. Moreover, the two skills can be gained together. In this way, after 2.5 hours, the experience of both skills was full. Upgrade. Sky Eye. 899 100ths billion, lower grade of the Zon level, integrating multiple pupil techniques, with many and strong abilities. When practicing to perfection, you can get the following abilities. 1. Perspective. You can see through all ordinary things, even iron, but you can't see through things of the entry level, limited to a range of 500 meters. 3. Hypnosis. You can easily hypnotize ordinary people and warriors in the refining skin realm, and can hypnotize seriously injured warriors in the refining blood and forging bone realms. 10. Teaching. You can easily teach skills below the Zon level, but pay attention to mental consumption. 13. Eliminate fakes. You can easily see through other people's hidden cultivation auras, disguises, etc., only under the innate realm. 14. Object identification. Being able to see the extraordinary features of some things, depending on the specific object, is a must for picking up leaks. 15. Exploration. You can see some special auras, such as the vitality of heaven and earth, resentment, demonic aura, devilish aura, etc. When using the Heavenly Eye, there will be no other special changes in the eyes, but a warm reminder, you need to be careful when using the Heavenly Eye to avoid seeing some bad things that may cause you to get angry. Closing parenthesis closing square bracket. After upgrading to the lower level of Zon level, the disadvantages of using the Sky Eye disappear. Looking at the final text introduction, Lu Dao was overjoyed. In the previous Huang level, no matter which kind of celestial eye ability was used, there would be some disadvantages, which were easy to detect, such as eyes glowing, concave, convex, etc., but now this disadvantage has disappeared. When he uses the Sky Eye again in the future, he doesn't need to worry about being discovered. Moreover, every ability of Tianyan has been greatly improved, making Lu Dao very excited. Lu Dao looked at another technique. Breathing condensation technique, upgrade. Breath condensation technique. 899 tenths billion, low-grade Zon level, practice to the perfect state, can hide all the breadth of cultivation under the innate state. Even the innate strong cannot see through without using spiritual consciousness to probe into the body your true cultivation. Okay, at least you can hide your cultivation in the Zhang refining realm. After the breath condensation technique was upgraded, it only had the added function of hiding the cultivation level of Zhang refining realm, but the rest remained unchanged. In this regard, Lu Dao did not feel disappointed. As long as the breath gathering technique can hide his cultivation level. After upgrading the two techniques, Lu Dao directly added points to perfection and then practiced some. Finally came out of customs, ready to have a good meal. This 5-day retreat was Lu Dao's longest retreat in so long, and it was also the most rewarding one. The cultivation level is improved, the skills are improved, and the heavenly eye is also improved. All this made Lu Dao very happy. The joy of spiritual practice lies in continuous progress. Just after leaving the border, Lu Dao received bad news. The Han family seemed to have sent someone to monitor him outside the Tianyan Inn. The Han family is spying on me. After hearing this, Lu Dao showed no surprise. It was obvious that he had expected all this. Lu Dao smiled and said, "Don't worry." Lu Dao didn't care about the Han family. As long as he didn't reach the Shantian realm, he didn't care much. With his current cultivation in the refining Zhang realm, plus the perfect swordsmanship and body skills of the middle grade of the Zan level, as well as the upgraded golden silk soft armor and long sword, he believed that he could easily fight across levels. More importantly, he is currently integrating the skills. After he integrates all the swordsmanship, body skills, boxing skills and other skills that can enhance combat power, his strength will definitely be greatly improved. He even dared to fight against the perfect refining Zhang realm. Of course, this is all Lu Dao's ideal situation. What is the truth depends on the effect created by the skills. Okay, as long as you know it. Since Lu Dao said so, He Zongming naturally stopped discussing the matter and became concerned about Lu Dao's cultivation. How is your cultivation now? I'm at the Lianzang realm. Lu Dao did not hide it from He Zongming. There was no need. Besides, with his powerful cultivation realm, at least everyone would be more confident and not be frightened. Okay. Sure enough, when He Zongming heard the news, he couldn't help but say 3 good words in a row, and he was indeed relieved. He Zongming probed. Then you can now teach the skills. Lu Dao smiled and nodded, saying, yes, you can teach the skills. Does it affect you a lot? It doesn't matter, everyone can do it together. He Zongming happily called out the other people who were practicing. Wu Tianyu and his wife also looked at Lu Dao eagerly. They had wanted to practice for a long time, but unfortunately, in just a few days, even with the skills given to them by He Zongming and even explained to them, they couldn't get started. Next, Lu Dao continued to use the ability of the Sky Eye technique to pass on the skills, and passed on the bull body refining skill to everyone one after another, and directly taught it to the perfect state. As for He Zongming, Lu Dao directly taught him the demon elephant body refining skill of the perfect state. I will also pass on the breath containment technique to you. After you improve your cultivation, remember not to expose your cultivation in front of outsiders. In order to prevent everyone from being discovered by the Tianyan Inn after improving their cultivation and causing unnecessary trouble, Lu Dao also passed on his own breath containment technique to everyone. However, he planned to only teach part of it. After all, it was a low-grade Zan level breath containment technique, and Lu Dao's Sky Eye technique was also only a low-grade Zan level. He did not dare to be reckless, fearing that he would be mentally injured, so he only taught it to the level of proficiency. It is true, just after teaching He Zongming the breath containment technique, another panel of the system flashed, and Lu Dao found that there was an extra line of words after the introduction of the breath containment technique. Breath concealing technique. 1 billion lower grade of Zan rank. When cultivated to the perfect state, you can hide all the cultivation breath below the innate state. Even if you are an innate strongman, you cannot see through your true cultivation without using your spiritual sense to probe into your body. Do you authorize He Zongming to practice the breath concealing technique? Yes, no. Sure enough, I need authorization to teach others the skills I created myself. If I don't authorize them, they can't practice it. Lu Dao's eyes lit up. This authorization situation had occurred when I taught He Yuanshuang and Wu Ming to sing before, and it is the same when I teach the skills now. This authorization function of the system is undoubtedly very good. Even if the skills are accidentally lost in the future, others will not be able to practice without his authorization. Lu Dao silently said in his heart, "Yes, authorization." Then Lu Dao found that after the authorization, there was another line of words under the text of the breath-concealing technique. Do you want to revoke He Zongming's authorization to practice the breath-concealing technique? Yes, no. Can it be revoked? This function surprised Lu Dao even more. If he is not satisfied with He Zongming, or if He Zongming does something bad to him, he can directly revoke the authorization, and then He Zongming can no longer practice the breathing technique. These two functions are simply too good. When teaching the two little guys to sing before, they learned too slowly and were far from being able to sing the entry-level songs. Lu Dao did not authorize them, and naturally there was no option to revoke the authorization. Now that he has discovered this function, Lu Dao is very satisfied. Hey, Lu Dao, it seems that the teaching has failed. After Lu Dao finished teaching, He Zongming subconsciously tried to practice. As a result, after running the technique for a circle, there was no effect. He couldn't help but try again. Why is it working again? This is a low-grade Zon level technique. It's a little slow. Don't worry. Lu Dao found an excuse to explain it, and then taught the breathing technique to others. At the same time, Lu Dao found that as He Zongming practiced the breathing technique, his experience in the breathing technique was also increasing. Of course, he was also gaining experience by practicing the breathing technique. Lu Dao estimated that it was about one breath. One breath is 3 seconds. Before, Lu Dao gained experience by practicing once, interrupting, and then practicing again. This cycle took about 2 seconds each time. And He Zongming's cultivation level was far behind his, and his experience was 100 times less. Otherwise, his breath-holding technique would be upgraded again soon. It seems that if I want to quickly gain experience with my self-created technique, I still need to spread it out. Strength comes from numbers. Lu Dao thought so and even considered whether to establish a sect. Because of the authorization and revocation functions, Lu Dao does not have to worry about others betraying him. Forget it, let's talk about it later. It's too early to consider these things now. Lu Dao gathered his mind and quickly completed the teaching of the skills and authorization, so that everyone learned the breath-holding technique. Let's practice. After the teaching, everyone couldn't wait to return to the room to start practicing. Even He Zongming was like this. With the perfect skills and endless resources, their cultivation will soon soar. Just like Lu Dao before, his qualifications are also ordinary, but the skills are perfect, and his cultivation will be raised to the blood-refining realm in just 1 or 2 days. Now Wu Tianyu, Wu Ming, He Yuanshuang and others can do the same, or even faster. Lu Dao is very happy about all this, without any complaints, nor does he feel that he has paid too much and is working for everyone. Because, in recent days, everyone has been working hard to wash chopsticks. Look, there are 10,000 pairs of chopsticks in the yard, and the experience has reached over 100 million, which can be upgraded to the 7th level lower grade. Lu Dao put all the chopsticks into the system space with satisfaction, and silently said, the level of all chopsticks has been upgraded. No, all the chopsticks in the system space have been upgraded to the highest grade. Fortunately, Lu Dao reacted quickly, otherwise if he thought about it, the chopsticks sold to Tianyan Inn would also be upgraded at the same time, which would be a big trouble. When Lu Dao thought of this, he was scared. As the chopsticks were upgraded, Lu Dao saw the fortune points on the system changed instantly. Name: Lu Dao. Cultivation: early stage of the refining organ realm. Skills: breath containment technique perfect, sky eye perfect, omitted. Skills: horse catching man perfect, lose hammer method perfect. Fortune points: nearly 470,000 fortune points. This is the reward that He Zongming and others brought to Lu Dao. Without these fortune points, Lu Dao would not be able to integrate and create skills. It is precisely because of this that Lu Dao will improve everyone's cultivation strength, which can be regarded as his reward to everyone. It's a mutually beneficial relationship. It's great. Lu Dao left the yard in a good mood and came to the 2nd floor of the inn. He ordered a braised pork and ate it with relish. After a while, Feng, the shopkeeper, came up and wanted to cooperate with Lu Dao again as soon as they met. Lu Dao's mood suddenly became more comfortable. Young Master Lu, I wonder how many 8th level low-grade chopsticks you still have in your hand. After shopkeeper Feng chatted with Lu Dao for a few words, he went straight to the point to talk about cooperation and wanted to continue buying chopsticks. During this period, Tianyan Inn's business was booming, and there were too many guests. Everyone wanted to try the magical effect of the 8th grade low-grade chopsticks, but unfortunately there were too many people and there were only 100 pairs of chopsticks. Many people couldn't eat at the first time and had to wait in a long line. There are even more customers using ordinary chopsticks to eat. With such a booming business, the daily income on the second floor of Tianyan Inn reaches tens of thousands, or even more than 100,000. Since Lu Dao bought 100 pairs of chopsticks, in just a few days, Tianyan Inn has made back all the money it spent on Lu Dao. Therefore, shopkeeper Feng wanted to continue buying chopsticks. Shopkeeper Feng also approached He Zongming, but Lu Dao was in retreat at the time, so naturally he couldn't be disturbed. Just now, He Zongming was so excited about the teaching of the exercises and was anxious to experience the effects of the practice that he forgot to mention this to Lu Dao. Lu Dao slowly ate a piece of braised pork, shook his head and said, "There are no 8th grade low-grade chopsticks." The expectant expression on shopkeeper Feng's face suddenly froze, and then he smiled bitterly. Just as he was about to say something, Lu Dao continued, "But there are 7th level low-grade ones." "What? 7th level low-grade?" Shopkeeper Feng's eyes suddenly opened wide, and he glanced at the lively dining guests on the other side. Shopkeeper Feng immediately invited Lu Dao to his room on the first floor and asked the kitchen to serve more delicious dishes. "Young Master Lu, please." Shopkeeper Feng personally made a cup of tea for Lu Dao, and asked with concern with a smile, "How is your stay at our Tianyan in these days, Mr. Lu?" "Not bad." Lu Dao really thought it was pretty good. Staying at the Tianyan Inn is protected by a protective array. No one will disturb you and no one will peep at you. You will feel very safe. In the past few days, Lu Dao practiced peacefully. Even when he was sleeping, he didn't have to worry about any danger, and he didn't need a big black dog to keep watch. Shopkeeper Feng asked with a smile, "What do you think of our Tianyan Inn, Mr. Lu?" Lu Dao was slightly stunned. He thought he would directly discuss cooperation next, but he didn't expect that shopkeeper Feng would ask such a question. Wasn't he trying to play the emotional card so that he could negotiate the price? After thinking about it, Lu Dao nodded and said, "Not bad." The smile on shopkeeper Feng's face froze slightly. It was still the same 3 words. "Can't you say more?" Cursing secretly, shopkeeper Feng continued to ask with a smile, "How much does Mr. Lu know about our Tianyan Inn?" "I've never heard of it before." Lu Dao shook his head. "Our Tianyan Inn has a history of thousands of years and is spread throughout the Daqian dynasty. There are Tianyan Inns in every state, prefecture and county." Shopkeeper Feng introduced the Tianyan Inn to Lu Dao and said, "There are thousands of Tianyan Inns in the entire Daqian territory. Different from county-level cities, such as the Tianyan Inn at the state and prefectural levels, they serve many people. A strong person above the innate realm." Lu Dao was a little shocked when he heard this. Tianyan Inn is obviously a black inn, but it can be spread throughout a dynasty, which shows how powerful the power behind it is. But why did shopkeeper Feng introduce Tianyan Inn to him? Lu Dao asked this question directly. "It seems to me that young Master Lu is not a disciple of a certain family or a certain sect." Shopkeeper Feng said, "You are alone and weak after all. If Lu Shaoxia can join a certain force, a small sect such as Hongwa Valley, how can he dare to offend you?" Shopkeeper Feng's words were undoubtedly an invitation to Lu Dao to join Tianyan Inn. "Really?" Then shopkeeper Feng said sincerely, "I sincerely invite Shaoxialu to join me at Tianyan Inn. Tianyan Inn can solve all your grudges for you." Lu Dao was a little moved when he heard this. It is true that being able to be close to a big force will undoubtedly bring many benefits, and a single identity can avoid a lot of trouble. But Lu Dao is a little repelled by an inn with the nature of a black shop like this, not because he is very noble, but mainly because he is worried that Tianyan Inn itself is a troublesome vortex, and once trapped, he will not be able to get out. An inn like this could offend countless forces. If one day they were attacked by a group of people, Lu Dao would not even have a chance to escape. Therefore, Lu Dao could only decline politely, "Thank you very much, shopkeeper Feng, for your kindness. However, Lu is used to freedom. I'm afraid I will have to live up to shopkeeper Feng's kindness. After speaking, Lu Dao changed the topic and continued. However, although he cannot join Tianyin, Lu can cooperate with Tianyin for a long time. Lu Dao was also worried that Tianyin would be too small-minded and would not tolerate rejection by others and secretly retaliate, so he talked about long-term cooperation. Shopkeeper Feng was slightly disappointed when he heard this. But when Lu Dao mentioned long-term cooperation, most of his disappointment dissipated. He invited Lu Dao to join Tianyin, firstly because Lu Dao's cultivation talent was indeed worth cultivating, and secondly because he wanted to become a chopstick master. The difference is that if Lu Dao joins Tianyin, it will be working for Tianyin, not a cooperative relationship. What does Lu Xiaoxia mean by long-term cooperation? After Lu Dao pondered for a moment, he said, the 7th grade low-grade chopsticks were sold by Lu to Tianyin for half the price. Shopkeeper Feng frowned. The market price of a 7th level low-grade item is 100,000 taels. Even if it is half price, it is still 50,000 taels. But the point is, they're talking about chopsticks. No matter how high the grade is, chopsticks are still chopsticks, unlike other items such as weapons and armor that can enhance one's personal strength. And the 8th grade low-grade chopsticks are enough for Tianyin to attract customers and make their business more prosperous. Naturally, there is no need to buy the 7th grade chopsticks. Therefore, Shopkeeper Feng is still ready to talk to Lu Dao about the cooperation of the 8th level low-grade chopsticks. Shopkeeper Feng was speaking when he heard Lu Dao continue. Moreover, Lu's forging ability has increased greatly recently, and he should be able to forge 6th level or even 5th level chopsticks in the near future. If Tianyin cooperates with Lu for a long time, it will be sold to him in the future. No matter how many chopsticks there are in Tianyin, when Lu's forging ability improves, these chopsticks can be returned to let Lu improve their quality. As for the price, Lu Dao paused for a moment before continuing. Since it is a long-term cooperation, the price for upgrading the chopsticks cannot be higher. It only needs to be 30% of the price of items of the same level after the chopsticks are upgraded. Shopkeeper Feng, what do you think? Shopkeeper Feng originally had no idea about purchasing 7th level chopsticks, but now, as soon as Lu Dao proposed cooperation, Shopkeeper Feng couldn't help but feel excited. This cooperation plan is really too tempting. First, improve your grade. There is no doubt that this is the one that touches his heart the most. Their Tianyin serves not only the monks under Shantian, but also the powerful ones such as Shantian, Grandmaster, and Shantai. But the 8th level low-grade chopsticks are ineffective against the innate realm. But once the level is upgraded to the 5th level, that is, the chopsticks become innate spiritual weapons, which are also effective on the innate realm strong ones, then what you will earn by then will not be mere silver or gold, but yuan stones. The value of yuan stone is far more than 10,000 times that of gold. Second, price. The price is only 30% of items of the same level. This price can be said to be quite cheap. Even if it is just chopsticks, once they are upgraded to the 5th level, they are innate spiritual weapons. Even if they are used as weapons, their lethality is not weak. The only thing that needs to be worried is, what is Lu Dao's forging ability? Shopkeeper Feng suppressed his excitement, took a deep breath and asked, Young Master Lu, I wonder what your forging ability is. What level of chopsticks can you forge now? In addition, can you ensure that you can forge 5th level chopsticks in the future? Don't worry, Shopkeeper Feng. Lu Dao smiled and said, not to mention anything else, Lu still has the confidence to make things. With just 5th level chopsticks, Lu can easily achieve it within 10 years. What if Mr. Lu can't do it within 10 years? Shopkeeper Feng narrowed his eyes and asked. Lu Dao looked solemn and said, if we can't do it within 10 years, Lu will return all the money, and these chopsticks will be given to Tianyin. For Lu Dao, how could it take 10 years to make 5th level chopsticks? As long as there are higher level monster flesh, bones, internal organs, etc., as long as his cultivation reaches the innate realm, he can easily make them in just one day. The reason for giving 10 years is just because I don't want to expose too much. When Shopkeeper Feng heard this, he was slightly stunned for a moment, then put on a smile on his face. In his opinion, Lu Dao was too conceited. Making a 5th level spiritual weapon is not that simple. It is even more difficult than advancing to the innate realm. Do you want to do it in 10 years? Overconfidence. But it wasn't a bad thing for him. Once Lu Dao couldn't do it, it would be like using Lu Dao's chopsticks for nothing. Certainly, compared to using Lu Dao's chopsticks for free, he still hopes that Lu Dao can make 5th level chopsticks by then. After all, making yuanxi is countless times better than making silver. It's just that this possibility is unlikely. From this point of view, he can only reluctantly buy Lu Dao's chopsticks for nothing. Coincidentally, Lu Dao was also thinking about buy Tianyan in. Just some chopsticks made of ordinary bamboo can not only earn countless silver coins, but also allow people to gain experience and gain fortune points for free. More importantly, you can make money over and over again. It's simply not too fun. An old man and a young man looked at each other and smiled, each thinking in his mind. The cooperation was concluded. Shopkeeper Feng took a sip of tea and asked, "How many 7th level chopsticks does Mr. Lu have in his hand?" "I bought them all." The arrogance of the shopkeeper of Tianyan Inn is clearly on display. Lu Dao also took a sip of tea and chuckled, 10,000 pairs. Puff, how many? Shopkeeper Feng suddenly heard that there were 10,000 pairs, and he couldn't help but spit out his mouth full of tea, and even his voice turned into a male duck's voice. A rare gaffe. 10,000 pairs. Lu Dao calmly stated the number of 7th level chopsticks again, while looking at the food sprayed with tea on the table with some pity. There are actually so many. Shopkeeper Feng was almost dumbfounded. After murmuring, he didn't know how to speak. Originally, in his opinion, even if Lu Dao's forging ability had increased significantly recently, he could only make dozens of pairs of 7th level chopsticks in just a few days, and it would not exceed 100 pairs at most, right? The result was 10,000 pairs. According to the financial resources of the Tianyan Inn he is responsible for, he can afford 100 pairs or even 1,000 pairs of 7th level chopsticks, but 10,000 pairs. One pair is 50,000 taels, and 10,000 pairs is 500 million taels. He simply can't afford it. It's too early to talk nonsense. Shopkeeper Feng is a little melancholy. As a senior, he wanted to appear more generous after reaching such a long-term cooperation, but now he is a little bit frustrated. Right now, just listen to Lu Dao say, there are 1,000 pairs that have been made now, and there are still 9,000 pairs that are being made. They should be ready in a while. Shopkeeper Feng, what do you think of selling 1,000 pairs first? Lu Dao also saw the embarrassment of Shopkeeper Feng. After thinking about it, he decided to deal with 1,000 pairs first. He was even worried about whether he had overpaid. Fortunately, his worries were unnecessary. Shopkeeper Feng said hurriedly, Okay, let's deal with 1,000 pairs first. 1,000 pairs of 7th grade low-grade chopsticks cost 50 million taels of silver, which is equivalent to 5 million taels of gold. This number made Shopkeeper Feng feel envious and jealous. Young Master Lu's ability to make money is even better than ours at Tianyan Inn. After the transaction was completed, Shopkeeper Feng couldn't help but sigh. 50 million taels of silver was the income of their Tianyan Inn in several years. Hearing this, Lu Dao shook his head and said, Senior, this is made of wood accumulated by our ancestors for dozens of generations. Once the wood is used up, it will be difficult to make high-level chopsticks. That's true. Shopkeeper Feng also had no doubts about him. The wood that could be made into high-level items must not be ordinary. He did not ask Lu Dao what kind of wood it was, or whether he needed help finding it. He believed that with such a cooperative relationship, if Lu Dao really wanted to find any wood, he would think of their huge Tianyan Inn. Thank you, Shopkeeper Feng. Lu Dao smiled and stood up to say goodbye. Young Master Lu, walk slowly. Looking at Lu Dao's leaving figure, for some reason, Shopkeeper Feng had the illusion that Tianyan Inn was working for Lu Dao. Certainly, Tianyan Inn is definitely not losing money, especially Shopkeeper Feng. He can also make a lot of money by selling these chopsticks to other branches of Tianyan Inn. Shopkeeper Feng immediately arranged everything in the inn and left Mufeng City in a hurry, rushing to Tianyan Inn in other cities. It's time to clean up the skills again. After receiving the 50 million taels of silver, Lu Dao returned to the room with excitement. Then another retreat begins. However, just 3 days into seclusion, He Zongming suddenly knocked on the door of his room. Lu Dao opened the door and saw not only He Zongming, but also the mayor who looked anxious and haggard. Lu Dao frowned and said in a deep voice, "What happened?" The mayor actually came to Mufeng City from Dafeng Town. Obviously something happened in Dafeng Town, and it was undoubtedly related to Honghua Valley. "Really?" I heard the mayor say anxiously. "Lu Dao, the people from Honghua Valley came to Dafeng Town this morning and arrested Zhang Quan and several others. They said they gave you 3 days to come to Honghua Valley to plead guilty, otherwise you will be punished. They were slowly tortured to death." Lu Dao knew who Zhang Quan and the others the mayor was talking about were the same late-stage leather refiners who came to help him during the bloody battle with the Kai woman and helped him capture Fan Jian. He didn't expect Honghua Valley to be so shameless. Even someone who was just doing a small favor and didn't have many close relationships would be directly arrested and used to threaten him. "Don't worry, Mayor, I will rescue them." As soon as Lu Dao said these words, the mayor hurriedly shook his head and said, "No, no, no, Lu Dao, you misunderstood. I'm not here to ask you to save them. I'm just here to tell you that Honghua Valley is looking for you. Their strength it's too powerful, you must be careful, as for Zhang Quan and the others." Having said this, the mayor was silent for a moment and said in a somewhat lonely tone, "I hope you will become stronger in the future and be able to avenge them." Although the mayor has been hiding under the power of the Axe Gang for decades, he knows the difference between the important and the important. If he had to choose between Lu Dao and Zhang Quan, he would choose to sacrifice Zhang Quan and others. Lu Dao is indeed talented, but his strength is still too weak now. Once he goes to Red Flower Valley, it will be like a sheep in a tiger's mouth. Not only will he not be able to save Zhang Quan and the others, but even Lu Dao himself will not be able to come back. Instead of doing this, it is better to let Lu Dao practice hard, and when he becomes stronger in the future, he can avenge Zhang Quan and others. "Don't worry, I won't be impulsive." Lu Dao chuckled lightly, remembering the set of yin and yang skills he got from the woman in colorful clothes, and comforted him, "Mayor, you don't have to worry too much, they will be fine for the time being, and they may even get some benefits." "Can we still get benefits?" The mayor and He Zongming were both a little confused. "If a person is captured, can there be any benefits?" Lu Dao explained in detail to the two the Red Flower Valley skills he had obtained. That set of skills was mainly used in the blood refining realm. It was an evil skill that used yang to nourish yin, and used the blood and essence of the male body to nourish women through combined practice. Zhang Quan and others were only in the late stage of skin refining. Relatively speaking, their blood and essence were not very abundant. However, if they were promoted to the blood refining realm and then harvested, they would get more yang blood. This was equivalent to raising GU. Lu Dao got that set of skills, so he naturally understood these. And the most important thing was that Zhang Quan and others were all in the late stage of skin refining, and Zhang Quan himself was even perfect in skin refining. If he wanted to raise them to the early stage of blood refining, it would not take much time with the strength of Red Flower Valley. This was equivalent to saving time for the female cultivators of Red Flower Valley in disguise. Even, they don't have to absorb all the essence at once. They can leave a breath for the person to continue practicing. Once the blood and qi are restored, they will absorb again, and so on. This sect is really evil. After listening to what Lu Dao said, He Zongming couldn't help but sigh. What is the use of yang to replenish yin and yin to replenish yang? It is completely a cannibalistic practice. This is a one-sided absorption, not a dual cultivation practice that complements each other. Thinking of the powerful strength of Honghua Valley, which even has the innate realm, He Zongming couldn't help but remind Lu Dao, Honghua Valley is not the Axe Gang or the Three Wolf Gang. You must be cautious." "I know." Lu Dao nodded. Since he knew that Zhang Quan and others were fine for the time being, he naturally wouldn't foolishly run to Honghua Valley to save people now. Lu Dao asked curiously, "Mayor, it stands to reason that not many people would know that Zhang Quan and his men helped me catch Fan Jian. How did Honghua Valley know about this?" The mayor sighed. "It was Fan Jian's wife who told Honghua Valley." "Sure enough, you have to root out the weeds before you can cut them." Lu Dao was a little helpless. If it weren't for this person, the people in Honghua Valley would naturally not know that Zhang Quan and his men had helped him. "By the way, Lu Dao, a few days ago, Kai Jiong returned to Dafeng Town and wanted to inquire about you, but was driven away by everyone." After dealing with the matter of Honghua Valley, the mayor mentioned another matter and reminded, it's just that Fan Jian's wife suddenly betrayed everyone today. I don't know if she contacted Kai Jiong a few days ago. When I came into the inn just now, I met Kai Zan. They had a group of people squatting outside the inn. When they found me, they even wanted to catch me, but they didn't succeed because I had already entered the inn. You have to be careful of them. Well, it doesn't matter. Lu Dao nodded and continued. Mayor, you stay in the inn first and go back in 2 days. Lu Dao knew that Kai Zan and others wanted to catch the mayor, and they must have used it to threaten him, so naturally he couldn't let the mayor go out now. The mayor stayed in Tianyan Inn temporarily. What made Lu Dao speechless was that according to the rules of Tianyan Inn, the mayor could not live with them and needed to live in another room, and the accommodation fee was calculated separately. Without much care, he quickly arranged for accommodation. Then Lu Dao returned to the room to gain experience for the knife and the gold silk soft armor. Lu Dao's 10 fingers worked together, constantly tapping on the gold silk soft armor, as if playing the piano. Soon, the gold silk soft armor was promoted to the 7th level middle grade. To be promoted to the 7th level upper grade, 10 billion experience points were needed. Lu Dao needed to play with his 10 fingers for 2 days and 2 nights without stopping. This experience is still too slow. Lu Dao gave up decisively. Lu Dao displayed his cultivation level at the middle stage of bone forging, glanced at the door of the inn, and then left Tianyan Inn. As soon as Lu Dao left Tianyan Inn, a group of people from the Han family followed him silently. After walking 500 meters, the people from the Han family directly surrounded him. Such people want to kill me. You look down on Lu so much. Lu Dao was not panicked at all. Before leaving Tianyan Inn, Lu Dao used his eyes to secretly observe the Han family's lineup. A total of 16 people came from the Han family. 4 of them are in the realm of Zhang refining, 2 are in the early stage of Zhang refining, 1 is in the middle stage of Zhang refining, and 1 is in the late stage of Zhang refining. The remaining 12 people are all in the bone forging realm. As for Kai Jiong, Kai Zan, and Han Guanyu, they stood aside and watched the excitement from a distance, with excited expressions on their faces. It has to be said that the Han family paid special attention to Lu Dao. Not only did they dispatch the Zhang refining realm, they even dispatched the Zhang refining stage, and they did not look down upon Lu Dao at all. The person in the late stage of Zhang refining is the head of the Han family, named Han Chengyan. He is an old man who looks to be in his 60s. He has a gray beard and a rosy complexion. He gives people a very kind feeling, but as soon as he opens his mouth, this feeling disappears. Nothing left. Boy, you dare to steal my Han family's things, just arrest me without mercy. Not only was Lu Dao speechless, some people who knew the Han family well could not help but show ridicule. Kill. Han Chengyan didn't give Lu Dao a chance to argue, and just yelled, and a group of people from the Han family immediately attacked Lu Dao. Very decisive. Lu Dao used his body skills to avoid Han Chengyan from a distance and rushed towards a group of bone forging realms. HMPH, you want to run away from me? Don't. A middle-aged man from Han who had perfected his bones gave a ferocious smile and swung his sword directly at Lu Dao, while still sneering. Only, before he could say the word, "Don't think about it," Lu Dao's long knife struck his sword. With a crisp sound, the long sword broke in the man's horrified eyes. Almost at the same time, a ray of light appeared from the long knife. The light of the knife flashed past, like cutting tofu, and it cut across the man's body in an instant. Cut in two. How can it be? The man looked frightened, and his retreating body fell to the ground with a bang under the influence of inertia. Blood filled the street. Sigh, so strong. He can kill the bone forging perfection in one move. Is he really in the middle stage of bone forging? How is it possible? His cultivation is absolutely hidden. This is amazing. Judging from his age, he must be less than 20 years old, right? The state of Zhang refining under the age of 20 is awesome. On the street, the onlookers were amazed. They thought that Lu Dao was surrounded by the Han family and would definitely die, but they didn't expect that he actually killed a bone forging perfection with a single blow. This made everyone couldn't help but get excited. Especially those who couldn't stand the Han family's behavior saw this, and some expectations arose in their hearts. Kai Jiong and Kai Zan, father and son in the distance, saw such a scene, their faces suddenly turned pale and bloodless, and they became slightly frightened. Asshole! Han Chungyun's face was extremely ugly, and he rushed towards Lu Dao crazily, wanting to kill him. But Lu Dao didn't take the move at all. He turned around and attacked another late-stage bone-forging player next to him. Puff! The sound was very soft, but it was slashing at someone. Blood and water immediately splashed everywhere, and another person died. You deserve to die. When Lu Dao was about to kill the third person, an early-stage Zhang refiner rushed over from the side. An iron rod fell from the sky and hit Lu Dao's head. Lu Dao smiled coldly and did not dodge. Instead, he turned his wrist and swung his long knife upward. There was a sound. The iron rod and the long knife struck each other, and a gap suddenly appeared on the iron rod. With the help of the force of the counter-shock, Lu Dao used his physical skills to appear in front of a bone-forging late-stage player on the right who was about to rush forward. With his fearful look on his face, Lu Dao calmly cut him down with his sword. Puff! The long knife was so sharp that it seemed like the forged bones had no resistance and could be easily cut off by the sloping shoulder. In just a few breaths of time, Lu Dao killed 3 people one after another, as easily as if he had killed not 3 strong bone-forging masters, but 3 ordinary people. Those who were in the bone-forging realm dispersed. At this time, Han Chungyun still didn't understand that they underestimated Lu Dao. When discussing how to deal with Lu Dao, the Han family investigated everything about Lu Dao and speculated that Lu Dao might have obtained some kind of treasure that allowed him to advance from the early stage of skin refining to the early stage of bone forging in just a few days. They prepared for the worst. When Lu Dao left Tianyin, he upgraded his cultivation to the state of Zhang refining. But even so, they are confident of winning Lu Dao. Unexpectedly, Lu Dao was so powerful that perfect bone forging was no match for him. And the long knife in his hand has reached the 7th level of middle grade. There was a crash. The remaining 9 bone forging realms immediately retreated. How could Lu Dao let them withdraw so easily and continue to use his own skills? Xiaoyaoyu. 899 tenths billion, lower grade of Zon level, integrating pursuit, escape, fighting and other body skills. The speed is significantly ahead of the same level of skills. During battle, you can use the wind and various powers in the monk's body to increase the speed of your body skills. The movement is erratic, making the enemy unpredictable. Escape perfection. Lu Dao instantly approached a mid-level bone forging man and slashed him with his sword. He didn't even bother to resist the man's attack on him. After slashing with the knife, he didn't even look at the person, and then killed another person. Poof! In just one breath, 2 more people were killed. That's not all. Lu Dao shook his left hand, and a chopstick was thrown out by him, as if it had eyes. The chopstick shot through a person's throat in an instant, and with a final chirp, it penetrated into the marble on the wall of the merchant. What kind of chopsticks are those? You may not believe it, but the chopsticks are actually of the 7th grade lower grade. 7th grade lower grade. Could he have stolen them from Tianyin? I kind of believe the Han family's excuse. What do you mean? I don't believe it. You think Tianyin is stupid. I think he sold the chopsticks to Tianyin. How rich is he? Someone recognized the grade of the chopsticks, causing a commotion in the crowd. Many people couldn't help but feel greedy, but just took a look at the mighty Lu Dao, and stopped their desire to move. Lu Dao, I'm going to cut you into pieces. Han Chungyun saw his clansmen being killed one after another, and his eyes suddenly turned blood red. In just less than 10 breaths, their Han family lost 6 people in the bone forging realm. This made Han Chungyun's heart bleed. He even regretted provoking Lu Dao, but it was too late to regret it now. The 2 sides were already in blood feud and could not be resolved. Han Chungyun used his body skills to chase Lu Dao frantically, but what made him crazy was that with his Zon-level middle-grade body skills at the Great Accomplishment realm, his speed was actually not as fast as Lu Dao's. This also made Han Chungyun shocked by Lu Dao's comprehension. He vaguely understood why Lu Dao's cultivation realm suddenly improved so quickly. It was not because of some other external secrets, but probably because of the sudden surge in comprehension. Kill him for me. After losing 6 members of the bone refining realm, the 4 members of the Han family at the refining organ realm finally surrounded Lu Dao within 3 feet. All 4 of them rushed towards Lu Dao with murderous intent, determined to kill him. Hey! Lu Dao smiled and used Xiaoyaoyu. His body skills were extremely fast, and he rushed directly to the person who was at the early stage of refining organs with a long stick. The long stick in this person's hand was of the lower 7th grade, and Lu Dao's long sword was of the middle 7th grade. He faced this person with an ordinary horizontal cut. In the blink of an eye, the two men were 3 meters apart and continued to rush towards each other, attacking from the left and right. Just when everyone thought that the two men's swords and sticks would collide with each other. Suddenly, Lu Dao rushed forward, completely ignoring the horizontal smash of the iron stick, completely giving up the defense of the left side of his body, and slashed the enemy's left arm with the long sword in his hand. He actually chose a way to hurt both sides. Isn't this courting death? Seeing this scene, everyone couldn't help but think that Lu Dao was courting death. Once he was injured, how could he escape? But, is it really so? Bang, puff, 2 sounds rang out at the same time, but then there was another shrill scream. Ah, he has armor, puff. As soon as the voice fell, the man was stabbed by Lu Dao, who was unharmed, and died instantly, with a trace of regret and fear in his eyes. Because of a trace of greed, the Han family suffered heavy losses. He could not even predict the final outcome of the Han family, and of course he could not see it. Lu Dao turned around and glanced at the golden silk soft armor revealed after the sleeve exploded. Golden silk soft armor. 8889 100th billion, 7th level middle grade, strong defense, can easily resist all attacks below the late stage of bone forging, and when the bone strength is input, it can form a layer of shield all over the body, which can resist all attacks below the middle stage of organ refining, except for attacks from weapons above the 7th level middle grade. In this case, the middle stage of organ refining can resist 70%, and the late stage of organ refining can resist 30%. Body movements, weapons, swordsmanship, etc., all upgraded. This is the confidence of Lu Dao, who dared to walk out of Tianyin even though he knew that there were 4 organ refining masters in the Han family squatting on him. Lu Dao looked at the remaining 3 organ refining realms of the Han family calmly. In contrast to Lu Dao's calmness, Han Chengyan and the other 2 were full of shock and anger. In just a few dozen breaths, the Han family lost 6 bone forging masters and 1 organ refining master. This was a result that the Han family had never thought of when they planned to deal with Lu Dao. He was obviously just a 17-year-old boy, and his cultivation level was only in the early stage of organ refining. How could he be so strong? Han Chengyan felt great regret in his heart, but it was a pity that regretting now was useless. So, Han Chengyan said angrily, "You harass from the side, I will kill him." Han Chengyan didn't want the Han family to suffer greater losses, so he chose to attack with him as the main attacker, and the other 2 assisted in harassing from the side, not giving Lu Dao a chance to escape, and waiting for an opportunity to attack. But how could Lu Dao give the 3 such an opportunity? Lu Dao directly chased another early stage of organ refining, and looked like he was going to kill him, so that the man could only flee frantically. As a result, this gave Lu Dao an opportunity. Lu Dao took the opportunity to break away from the encirclement of the 3 people, turned around, and rushed towards Kai Jiong and the other 2. Dozens of meters away, Kai Jiong, Kai Zan and Han Guanyu had already turned pale and panicked. Seeing Lu Dao rushing over, the 3 of them were horrified and decided to flee. But, swoosh, 3 slight air breaking sounds were heard. Under Lu Dao's heavenly eye, he seized the opportunity and threw 3 chopsticks. The 3 people were only at the late stage of blood refining at the highest level. How could they resist the killing moves of the Zhang refining realm? The chopsticks almost instantly pierced through their bodies. Bang! The 3 fleeing figures fell to the ground and rolled on the ground for several times before stopping. Lu Dao didn't care whether the 3 were dead or alive. While performing his body skills, he caught up with another bone refining realm cultivator of the Han family who was watching and killed him with a single knife. Han Chengyan said anxiously, "Everyone else, leave here." He was very angry. He was originally hunting Lu Dao, but the others became a burden instead, like lambs to be slaughtered, and had no power to fight back in front of Lu Dao. Even if the bone forging was perfect, it was solved with 1 sword. At this time, Lu Dao was already chasing another person in the same direction. "Get out of the way." The man looked terrified, and in a panic, he pushed the crowd away and tried to escape, but unexpectedly. When he turned back in panic and looked at Lu Dao who was chasing him, he was suddenly tripped by someone, and his body uncontrollably hit the door of a nearby merchant. Lu Dao took the opportunity to catch up and killed him with another sword. Who is it? Dare to plot against my Han family? Han Chungyun was shocked and angry. He didn't expect that someone would take advantage of his misfortune at this time. Suddenly, Han Chungyun thought of something and quickly glanced at the crowd around him, but found that many people looked at his Han family disciples with a hint of excitement and expectation, and even their eyes were filled with a hint of bloodthirstiness. This discovery made Han Chungyun tremble all over. Unknowingly, the Han family had offended so many people, or it could be said that the Han family had made so many people hate it. In the past, his Han family would do anything to achieve their goals, but today seems to be the time for backlash. Just when Han Chungyun was about to say something to calm the crowd, he heard Lu Dao say loudly, "Who can help me kill the other members of the Han family? 100,000 taels of silver for each early stage of bone forging, 200,000 for the middle stage, and later." Swish. Before Lu Dao finished speaking, the crowd was already in a commotion, looking at the other members of the Han family with cold eyes, as if they were not seeing people, but white silver. Very tempted. "Asshole, you dare!" Han Chungyun roared to interrupt Lu Dao's voice, then looked at the crowd with bloodshot eyes, and said in a cold tone, "Whoever dares to touch a hair of my Han family disciples today, I, Han Chungyun, will kill his family and leave no one alive." It must be said that the Han family still has some power in Mufeng City. When Han Chungyun said this, many people who were ready to move suddenly had no extra thoughts. Taking this opportunity, Lu Dao chased after the other person without stopping, but was stopped by Han Chengren, who was in the middle stage of the refining organ. "Since you are looking for death, I will kill you first." Lu Dao's expression turned cold. He originally planned to kill all the people in the bone forging realm first, and then deal with the refining organ realm. As a result, this person wanted to die, so Lu Dao fulfilled his wish. Tisk! Lu Dao rushed towards Han Chengren frantically, fighting with his life. The bone strength in his body was running an input into the golden silk soft armor. A layer of shield suddenly appeared on Lu Dao's body surface, covering his whole body. Lu Dao attacked Han Chengren with one knife after another, giving up all defense and focusing on fighting. Han Chengren hated secretly. He didn't want to die and didn't want to exchange his life with Lu Dao. Especially after knowing that Lu Dao had armor, he was even more unwilling to exchange injuries with Lu Dao. He could only defend desperately and didn't give Lu Dao any chance to kill him. However, Lu Dao's swordsmanship was too weird. Sometimes fierce, sometimes gentle. The last knife was chopped down with great force, and when he was about to block it, the knife suddenly changed its momentum and became erratic, and then he saw the blade of the long knife gently sticking to his iron hammer. The long knife just gently wrapped around the iron hammer, and a strong pulling force came from the iron hammer, pulling him as if he was going to crash into Lu Dao. Han Chengren was horrified and tried desperately to resist the pulling force, but it didn't work. After weighing the pros and cons, Han Chengren had to let go and gave up the iron hammer that had been with him for many years. As soon as the iron hammer left his hands, it disappeared out of thin air. It was obviously collected by Lu Dao. "Lu Dao, stop!" Seeing that Han Chengren had lost his hammer, his fighting power was greatly reduced, and he had no defense, so he was definitely not Lu Dao's opponent. Han Chungyun became anxious and shouted anxiously, and even stabbed Lu Dao's back with a sword in the air. Lu Dao ignored it. The next moment, Lu Dao rushed forward without stopping and slashed at Han Chengren with a knife. Han Chengren used the power of the 5 elements in his body, retreated, and hit Lu Dao's blade with his fist from the side, trying to resolve Lu Dao's attack. But Lu Dao only turned his blade and faced Han Chengren's fist with the blade, forcing Han Chengren to subconsciously retract his fist. And at the moment he retracted his fist, Lu Dao's blade turned again, and the tip of the blade just scratched Han Chengren's left arm, which he could not dodge in time. Suddenly his entire left arm was cut open, and blood flowed. Ah! Han Chengren couldn't help but scream in pain. Lu Dao didn't have the time to listen to his screams. He jumped up and hit his chest with his left knee while he was injured. Han Chengren had no way to avoid it. He could only use his body skills to retreat madly, while his right fist hit Lu Dao's knee fiercely. Bang! The fist and knee collided, and Han Chengren's entire right arm exploded directly, and bone fragments flew everywhere. With both hands destroyed, Han Chengren was no longer able to resist. He looked at Lu Dao with horror as he punched his chest and had to retreat desperately. But his speed was not as fast as Lu Dao, not to mention that he was retreating. Puff! This punch hit hard. Han Chengren opened his mouth and a large mouthful of blood sprayed out. His face was as pale as gold paper. Before he could react, Lu Dao had already raised the long knife in his hand and stabbed it towards his heart. Don't kill me. Han Chengren's face was full of despair. Han Chengyan also shouted frantically. Lu Dao, please show mercy, there is no grudge between us. Puff! Han Chengyan wanted to say that there was no grudge between them, but before he finished the word, grudge, Lu Dao's long knife stabbed into Han Chengren's chest. The already broken heart was no longer alive under this knife. To kill Han Chengren, Lu Dao drew his knife without delay and turned around to block Han Chengyan's sword. Watching Lu Dao stab his brother to death with a knife, Han Chengyan was dumbfounded. And the crowd on the street was boiling. He killed Han Chengren by crossing levels. Too strong. Have you noticed that his swordsmanship is so strange? It seems to combine many different swordsmanship. Not strange at all. Do you know who he is? He is the one who came to the Gongfa Pavilion to purchase goods a few days ago. Is it him? Is he the teenager who wants to create his own martial arts in his teens? He actually succeeded. I thought you were joking. It's only been a few days. Not only did he succeed in creating his own martial arts, but he also killed a middle stage refining internal organs by crossing levels. He succeeded just like that. It's too easy. Is this a human? He is simply a monster. Haha, didn't you notice that his body movements are also very strange? Yes, the elegance in battle, the swiftness in pursuit, the extreme speed in avoiding attacks, all of them are actually integrated together. Too incredible. A few days ago, the news that a teenager came to the Gongfa Pavilion to purchase goods and wanted to create his own martial arts spread throughout Mufeng City. Many people just thought it was a joke, but they didn't expect to see it with their own eyes now. This makes everyone feel like a fairy tale. Self-created kung fu. Han Chengyan was shocked when he heard the discussion in the crowd. At this moment, he finally realized what kind of monster their Han family had provoked. But he knew it too late. Looking at Han Chengren who fell in front of Lu Dao, and looking around at the remaining members of the Han family, Han Chengyan looked at Lu Dao and said hoarsely, Lu Dao, there is no hatred between you and me. It is only because of the instigation of Kai Jeong's family that we have come to this point. Now my Han family has suffered heavy losses and has been punished. How about you and I stop here? While speaking, Han Chengyan glanced at Kai Jeong and Kai Zhan who were lying on the ground from a distance, his face full of resentment. He blamed all this on the Kai family. If it weren't for the hatred between the Kai family and Lu Dao, how would they know Lu Dao, and naturally they would not have calculated Lu Dao, and there would be no scene now. He was unwilling to admit that his Han family was wrong. Hearing this, Lu Dao shook his head. Not long ago, I realized a truth. Cutting grass requires removing the roots. Your grass is too thick, and it must be cut down. Han Chengyan said in a deep voice. Lu Dao, do you really want to fight to the death with my Han family? He gave in, not because he felt that he was not as strong as Lu Dao, but because he was not sure that he could keep Lu Dao, because Lu Dao's body movement was too fast. Once Lu Dao escaped, when Lu Dao's strength grew a little, as long as he broke through to the middle stage of refining the internal organs, his Han family would be finished. He wanted to resolve the grudge now, but Lu Dao refused directly. This reminded him of the scene in the past when others knelt in front of him and begged for mercy, which was so similar to the present, and at that moment, he also refused. He didn't expect this to happen to him. How ironic. If the Han family catches me, will they give me a way to live? Lu Dao asked back calmly. Han Chengyan was silent. He wanted to say yes against his will, but he knew that such a lie could not possibly deceive Lu Dao, not to mention that there were many people around who knew his Han family inside and out. It can only be said that his Han family had done too much in the past. For opportunities and treasures, they burned, killed, looted, and committed all kinds of evil. Although they only robbed some weak people or small families, they were also hated in the eyes of those big families. It seems that I can only leave you today. Han Chengyan muttered silently. Since the hatred had been planted, for the sake of the Han family, he had to leave Lu Dao. Of course, in his opinion, there was another choice, to ignore the Han family and escape alone. But he didn't want to do that unless it was absolutely necessary. Everyone come here, even if you die, you must stop him and delay him for me, even for a breath. At this moment, Han Chungyin chose to exchange the lives of his clansmen with Lu Dao's. As long as he blocked Lu Dao and allowed him to attack Lu Dao, he would be sure to kill Lu Dao. The remaining 3 people in the bone refining realm and 1 in the early stage of organ refining of the Han family rushed over silently after hearing the words, and instantly surrounded Lu Dao again. Lu Dao smiled faintly and didn't care. He was not afraid of being surrounded by more than a dozen people earlier, let alone the 5 people now. Kill! Han Chungyin roared, and the 5 people formed a tacit attack and surrounded Lu Dao. What shocked everyone was that whether it was the 3 people in the bone refining realm or the 1 in the early stage of organ refining, they all attacked desperately, completely ignoring Lu Dao's attack, and just attacked Lu Dao madly. They even pounced on Lu Dao, wanting to hug him, hang on him, and create an opportunity for Han Chungyin to kill him. But to their disappointment, the bone refining realm's attack on Lu Dao was completely ineffective, and Lu Dao's body movements were weird, and the 3 people couldn't even touch Lu Dao's clothes. Puffing sounds rang out one after another. In just a breath, without any defense, the 3 Han family disciples in the bone refining realm died under Lu Dao's knife. However, under their life-threatening attack, Han Chungyin and another person in the early stage of refining the internal organs also won an opportunity to attack from the front and back. 1 knife and 1 sword, attacking from the front and back. They attacked the back and chest respectively, and at this time, Lu Dao had just swung his knife to kill someone, and the knife force did not have time to turn around. When Lu Dao was about to be killed by Han Chungyin, an unexpected scene appeared. A young man in his 20s suddenly appeared behind Han Chungyin silently, and suddenly shot him in the back. The power of this shot was not great, and the young man was only in the middle stage of forging bones, but if Han Chungyin insisted on killing Lu Dao and did not dodge, he would inevitably be seriously injured. If he dodged, he would miss the sword that would kill Lu Dao. Han Chungyin sensed all this and was furious. He completely ignored the young man's sneak attack, and insisted on killing Lu Dao even if he was seriously injured. But suddenly, for some reason, Han Chungyin felt that everything in front of him disappeared. In his eyes, his brother Han Chengren appeared asking for help. Not good. Han Chungyin was already in the late stage of refining the internal organs, and his mental strength was not weak. He reacted instantly and realized that he was under some kind of illusion. Han Chungyin bit his tongue hard, and in less than half a breath, he woke up. But, for a master, half a breath is enough to change everything, and Lu Dao would naturally not miss such a good opportunity. He took advantage of Han Chungyin's highly concentrated mind to perform the illusion of the sky eye, affecting Han Chungyin, and thus finding a chance. The lower grade sky eye illusion of the Zon level is far from enough to make the late stage of refining the internal organs completely fall into the illusion, but it can still affect the half-breath time. And half a breath time is enough. Lu Dao resisted the knife attack from the early stage of refining the internal organs behind him. He slightly shifted his body and avoided Han Chungyin's fatal sword in a moment of no time. At the same time, he shook his right wrist, swung the long knife upward, and stabbed Han Chungyin's left rib diagonally. 2 sounds of Kai and Kai were heard. One in front and one behind, a gun and a knife, entered the body at the same time. The gun pierced through the back, and the entire gun head sank into Han Chungyin's body. The knife cut through the left rib, and the entire blade cut into Han Chungyin's chest. In an instant, the blade and the gun head collided with each other. Suddenly, there was a bang. Han Chungyin's whole body exploded directly under the powerful aftermath. At this time, he had just woken up, with a trace of panic and anxiety in his eyes, and then turned into fear and unwillingness. Why is this happening? He didn't understand. Illusions are all aimed at the spirit. As far as he knows, only after the innate realm can one have spiritual consciousness and can do it, but Lu Dao is only in the early stage of refining the internal organs. Why did he do that? Could it be? Suddenly, Han Chungyin thought of a possibility: possession. People with spiritual consciousness can possess possession. He understood that Lu Dao was no longer the original Lu Dao, but was possessed by a strong man at least in the innate realm, which was why his cultivation and strength improved so much in a short period of time. I see. Han Chungyin thought he had guessed the truth, and while he was relieved, he couldn't help but sigh that his Han family was unlucky and actually got the upper hand over the innate strong man. Dad, how could you? The rest of the early stage of refining the internal organs were stunned, and they didn't understand what happened at all. Why did his father Han Chungyun suddenly lose his mind at the critical moment, as if he was possessed by evil spirits, and let Lu Dao kill him like a wooden man? It was obviously such a good opportunity to kill Lu Dao, but Lu Dao was fine, but his father died. He didn't understand. Not to mention that he didn't understand, the others around him didn't understand either. Things happened too quickly, and they didn't understand what happened. Even the young man who took action was confused. He had already prepared for Han Chungyun to give up on killing Lu Dao and kill him instead, but the result was this scene. Everyone looked at Lu Dao in confusion. However, Lu Dao did not explain anything to everyone. He directly drew back the long knife and killed the last Han family's master of refining internal organs who had already collapsed mentally. "Ah, I will fight you." Seeing his father, the pillar of the Han family, die inexplicably in front of him, this man fell into a state of madness, killing Lu Dao with bloodshot eyes. His moves were chaotic, and his body was staggering. In the end, he was beheaded by Lu Dao with a single knife. So far, all the 16 people of the Han family who hunted Lu Dao were killed by him, and no one survived. And Lu Dao, holding a long knife and covered in blood, stood in a thick pool of blood, like a killing god. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.